Hey guys, it's Danzie. Apologies if I'm looking and sounding just a little bit sleep deprived this week. I'm working on a massive video that I really wanted to have out this week, but unfortunately it's been kicking my ass so bad that I just couldn't swing it. Like, this is easily the most research and writing intensive video I've ever done. And on top of that, it's going to be about twice as long as usual. So sadly, that's out until next week, but I promise it's going to be worth the wait. You're going to have a ton of fun. It's actually really interactive. So make sure you tune in because I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say. But anyways, let's talk about today's video, which was originally going to be next week's video. So this all worked out pretty serendipitously. What is it, you say? I'm glad you asked. So, occasionally I write for a website called thefandamentals.com. Over the last few months, they've been doing a rewatch project for Game of Thrones. What they do is they grab a couple of different guest writers, and then they go through one episode every week, and write a cool, collaborative, kind of water cooler style article. And then once they reach the end of each season, they do a podcast. So the people running the project, Kylie and Julia, invited me on for the second season podcast, and then I hijacked most of it to talk about Stannis, so I'm probably not invited back. No, I'm just kidding. We had a great time. A big part of what we talked about was like the little cracks in the plaster that you could kind of see showing up in the earlier seasons of the show, but hadn't really developed into like massive season 5 onwards canyons, if you know what I mean. And in between that, we just cracked a bunch of jokes at the show's expense for 2 hours. You know, living the dream. So while this is mostly going to be a Sorry, if you guys hear coughing outside, it's because pot just got legalized this week in Canada. But anyway, sorry. So while this is mostly going to be a feast for your ears and not your eyes, I will be putting up a picture on screen that is evocative of one of my favorite scenes of all time in season 2. See if you can guess what it is. Anyways, I've rambled for long enough, and I need to get back to work on next week's video. Sitting down to film this was like my break, believe it or not. Like my coffee break was spent filming another video. And yeah, I'm not really sure how to segue here. Enjoy the podcast. I love you.
Hello and welcome to Unabashed Book Snobbery, the podcast where we gush about George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire and complain about its adaptation, Game of Thrones.
This is where being a book snob is a good thing.
My name is Kylie, and here with me today are Julia.
Hi, everyone. I have a cold.
Oh, God. Caroline.
Hi, everybody.
And Danzie.
Yay, I'm so excited to be here.
Danzie, you are fresh onto Unabashed Book Snobbery. Why don't you tell us where else we can find you on the interwebs?
Well, I make A Song of Ice and Fire shoebox dioramas, and no, I'm a YouTuber. You can follow me on Danzie Reviews.
That wouldn't shock me if that was like your hobby too, though.
I would love to do
that.
that.
I thought you were perfectly serious when you said that.
I mean, you don't know me. It's fine.
Yeah. And this is the scene of Sansa before Battle of Blackwater.
Yeah.
I could see that, totally. But yeah, no, definitely check out her YouTube channel. It is awesome. You can also check out our writing on thefandamentals.com, the website for fundamentally sound fandom analysis and many other podcasts. I also have to be shameless and say now for only $3 a month, you can subscribe to thefandamentals.com and be a supporter. It goes a very long way in keeping our site sustainable. And in return, you get some Fandamentals exclusives, which includes basically just essays and podcasts and live hangouts that we don't share with anyone else. All yours for $3 a month. You can find Fandamentals Plus, a little link from our homepage to subscribe. However, what are we doing here today? Well, it's part of Fandamentals' fame. We do not love Game of Thrones all that much.
Shocking. We're basically bagging on the show for another 2 hours. Welcome back.
But when you put it like that, now I feel like a jerk.
It's like my favorite hobby. I love ragging on Game of Thrones.
Well, in an attempt to be fair and balanced, we began a Game of Thrones rewatch project called The Wars to Come, where we decided to go back because, believe it or not, all of us, at a time, have very fond memories of watching this show and enjoying it. So we went back through season 1, a little less enchanted than I think I had expected to be. We had a podcast on that. Now this is our season 2 wrap-up podcast. We now have watched all 10 episodes of season 2. So we're gonna just be chatting about it at a high level. I guess we can dive in with a one-word review of the whole season, and if you don't mind, I'm going to go first and say mess.
That's a good one.
I'm going to go with sigh.
Can I go with like a sound that's not quite a word?
That's what I did.
Why,
That's
certainly.
true. I'm gonna go with ugh.
I'm gonna go with Stannis doesn't deserve this, you monsters. I know that's more than one word, but
Oh no, that's one word. That's in the dictionary.
What are you going to say in season 5?
it's hyphenated, right? Like, yeah, like if you type it out, it makes sense.
If you're upset about Stannis now, say so that outrage.
Oh, okay.
To be
I will say that.
slightly less negative, I think another good word would be uneven.
I think like the best kind of word would be like microcosm. Like there's no problem here that isn't there's no problem for the whole series that isn't also here in season 2.
That's
It's
true.
not like maybe fully blossomed in some places yet, but like this is very Game of Thrones.
You know what it's kind of like? Is it's like, you know when you go to see a musical and there's like that big overture at the beginning that's like samples all of the songs to come?
Yes,
And
oh
you're
my
like,
God.
you know what? By itself, this is like okay, and it's like, you know, this is
Yeah.
all right. And then you get to the songs, and the context is bad, and the lyrics are bad, and you know, that's how I think
can
of
see how that
implications.
analogy works.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a musical with a really good overture that has a not so up to snuff content. The best I've got is Phantom of the Opera. I apologize if anyone like loves
What
this.
about like
dare
Mamma
you.
Mia?
I
Like
mean,
Mamma Mia, you're like the music is good, I guess, but like then you have the context and the people who are singing it and things like that, and you're like,
yeah, I think Mamma Mia is probably a better example.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll talk about
better.
this later, Kylie. I can tell that you're a Sondheim fan, and I'm team Andrew Lloyd Webber.
You think?
So it's another podcast.
Wait, I think I have another word I can attach besides ugh.
Yeah.
okay,
Deceptive. Because
Ah,
explain.
I have a lot of deep emotional problems with season 2, and that comes from the fact that when I first watched season 2, I was unsullied. I hadn't read the books until after I watched season 3. So I
same.
was tricked by a lot of what was happening in season 2, and I really liked a lot of what I watched in season 2 the first time through. And so then, you know, sort of going back and watching it again after having read the books, I realized how much it had tricked me into liking it. When
Same.
really
Yeah.
it
Can
just
you
had
give
no
an example?
substance whatsoever. Talisa. I have,
Oh.
the reason I hate Talisa so much is because the first time I watched it, I was really into Talisa. And I was like, oh, this
Really?
is awesome. She's this badass, and she's healing people, and this is great. And then, like, I thought about it for, like, 30 seconds later on in life, and I was like, oh, fuck me. That was dumb as shit. And so, yeah.
I just don't like what upsets me about Talisa is that people always compare her to Claire from Outlander, and Claire from Outlander is like an actual badass field nurse.
She's also an actual time traveler.
Yeah, and that too, but like, it really bugs me when people talk about like, oh, Claire from Outlander, she's a field nurse. Like, yeah, her field nursing is like completely badass.
See, I was thinking
She
more
has
like
skills.
like Grey's Anatomy is missing their like sassy midwife. But
Well, I felt like I think Talisa was deceptive, and I think,
Yeah.
it's in this season, right, with Arya being a cupbearer.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, it's 100%. And you know what,
Yeah.
Caroline?
I remember you were
talking.
talking about that, Kylie, a lot, how you like felt a lot of tension in that scene with Littlefinger.
I was
and
at the
stuff,
exact
yeah.
same boat as Caroline. I didn't start reading the books until season 3 had begun, because season 3 began stressing me out so much that I was like, oh no, now I have to figure out what's going to happen. But so when I watched season 2, I remember loving you know, the Harrenhal scenes, and I distinctly the scene where Littlefinger's there and Arya's like hiding her face.
Yeah.
I felt so tense, like, oh my god, is he gonna turn around the first time I saw it? Watching it now, I'm just like, this is stupid. You're
Right,
all
like, it's so
stupid.
contrived to get these pieces
Yeah.
together, and to think that like Tywin would talk to his cupbearer, like it just the whole thing is like so contrived. It's like it's not enjoyable.
I mean, I think the thing about season 2, and this is kind of true all the way up until season 4, like the highs are high enough that you're like, oh, okay. But like after season 5, those highs just don't kind of exist anymore. Like they try to make highs, but they don't work. At least not for us. But like you have like Blackwater. We'll talk about this later in more detail, which is like more or less justifies the entire series' existence as far as I'm concerned.
I think Blackwater might be like the best episode of the series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think there's
I'd
much.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I called it the best climactic season closing thingy-mabobber in one of my pieces.
Well-
But I was a little more articulate in it.
Well, goddamn, one of our talking points was supposed to be best and worst episodes. Do we
Yeah,
want to
well,
just,
we'll
okay.
talk about it in more detail then.
Fine.
Fine.
I'm saying if the conversation is naturally flowing there. we could just say Blackwater was like the season highlight, and from what I can tell, the series highlight, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I agree.
Okay, let's get into our bullet points so we can talk about like Blackwater and what made it awesome later.
Okay, Jesus.
I'm in control here.
Yeah, fine. We'll stick to our structure. I get it. But I think, Julia, piggybacking a little bit off what you were trying to say, too, is that, like, the highs are here and the lows are here, too, but, like, it at least balances out a little more than, like, what's the best high of season 5? You know, Hard Home? I just don't think it's the same caliber.
No, it's not.
No.
It's when Littlefinger is telling the story of the Night of the Laughing Tree. That's obviously the high. It's the most like the books, you know, it's evocative of Martin.
Oh, what, in season 1?
In season 5.
Oh, God, I forgot he did that. No. Oh, season 5 is special. Anyway, I guess we can start off with just general highlights and lowlights. We talk a lot about the acting in our write-up posts, so any thoughts on the best acting?
I was very, very pleasantly surprised. Everyone's talking about Alfie Allen rightly as a highlight in terms of acting and character work, but the rest of Winterfell was just as impressive. I mean, like, even Bran and Rickon did just, like, those kids did a wonderful job. And
Lewin as well.
Lewin was just,
right?
I think he was my acting highlight of the season.
Yeah.
And I was
he
just,
did
like,
a really good job.
every time he was on the screen, I was just, like, so moved about, like, you know, how much that man gave a shit. Both the actor and the character.
That is Donald Sumpter, if anyone was curious.
He's good.
Yeah. I've been a fan of his for a while, and I was just, like... I mean, it's not a major part. It's like a middling part. And you can tell he put so much into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. No, it was really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he died, I literally cried.
Yeah.
Like, there were tears in my eyes.
The first time I saw it, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I think in general, too, that entire Northern Theater really caught me off guard. I did not like it when I was in Unsullied. I didn't really... It's not that I didn't care. I just wasn't that into it. But... Now, like, watching Alfie Allen and his performance on this show, especially juxtaposed to everyone else on the show, it's like, you can see how well he's showing the, like, internal struggle of Theon.
Yeah.
And just that nuance that he brings.
Yeah. No, those were my favorite chapters of the entire book series, Theon's Winterfell chapters. So
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I think Alfie Allen, throughout his performance in all the seasons and, like, moving forward, maybe this is like the opposite of a crack in the plaster. I don't know. This is a supporting beam. I don't know. He does a good job with everything.
Yeah. I mean, like, he'll be able to live this down for the rest of his career, you know? Like, his honor is not tarnished by this show in the way that, like, maybe Kit Harington's is, you know?
He's sort of like, he falls into the Michelle Fairley category of, like, really should have gotten an Emmy, but didn't when a whole bunch of other people got Emmy nominations that shouldn't have.
Yeah, actually, Peter Dinklage won for season 2.
Yeah.
What?
No, it was season 1 he won.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was season 1, I believe. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
The only time I was ever impressed with Peter Dinklage's acting on I mean, he did fine, but I was only impressed during the trial.
Yeah, I mean,
he did a good job there.
Tyrion really is, like, the only consistently likable guy on this show during season 2, which is a problem if you know anything about Tyrion from the books.
Yeah.
But I will say I enjoyed Peter Dinklage's performance.
I mean...
Very easy to root for him.
Yeah. I mean, he's really the first kind of prominent actor who's, like, popular in the mainstream, who's physically disabled. And a lot of his awards are kind of acknowledging that, and that's important. So...
Oh, for sure.
Like, he gets roles that aren't, like, you know, for little people. They're just, like, roles that he gets because he's a good actor, and that's important.
Mm-hmm. And he's charismatic, too. I think that comes across this season especially.
And he's from New Jersey.
He is?
And he was in the Marvel movie, and it was wonderful.
Oh my
he was
God.
just playing Tyrion.
We cannot talk about Infinity War, guys. No.
He even had the Tyrion voice.
Are there any other nominees for Best Actor, though? Like, I mean, when Lady Headey got to play Cersei in Blackwater, she was fantastic.
When she was talking
I mean, I was
Sansa,
saving that for Best
really
Scene.
good.
So, yeah. I mean, this show, like, doesn't have bad actors in it, generally. Like, even the small roles tend to be good actors.
Yeah.
And, like,
no, I'd agree with that. The acting
even,
is
like,
really
Sybil
strong.
Kaliki, she's improved. Like, she took some acting lessons or something. Because she's a lot better this season than she was last season, where she kind of pissed me off.
Oh, yeah, Shay.
Yeah.
Alright, well, what about worst acting?
That's what I'm saying. There isn't any.
Kit Harington? Really?
Yeah. I mean, like, he's just kind of like, he's just doing his Kit Harington thing, right? It's not really bad
Julia,
acting, it's just completely uninspired.
No, that's bad. It's just, it's open mouth bad.
I mean, I think Amelia Clarke was worse than him.
I was gonna say, have we forgotten Where Are My Dragons? Guys.
Oh boy.
I mean, that's only partially her fault.
I mean, at least she moved her face muscles.
Right. It's a breath of fresh air with this actor. At least she was able to, like, emote this season. But, you know, I think you're right, Danzie, because, like, Amelia Clarke was, I think, more out of her element this season than Kit was, comparatively. Especially that, what was that monologue where it's like, I believe in myself to the Spice King?
And the director's gonna stage this with me standing at the bottom of the stairs looking up at a bunch of dudes.
Like, okay. And she goes on this whole thing about how her dreams come true. And I'm like, but we don't see any of your dreams or prophecies because we apparently refuse to film them. I don't understand.
Because this is a TV show and not a book.
That her dragons would come out of the eggs and stuff. It's just like, huh? When did that happen?
Yeah. But it's not found.
I watched the first season.
They didn't even, like, give her a sounding board. Like, it's not that hard to have her express her internal thoughts. It's just, she didn't even talk to anyone. She just played hide and seek this year.
I mean, would you prefer her to talk about her innermost feelings to Jorah?
No, I didn't say Jorah.
I mean, she could.
I mean, that's the only person they would think of. Like, they wouldn't think of, like, you know, actually using all the Dothraki characters or anything like that.
I mean, she could have explored lots of feelings and themes and shit if she had had the proper House of the Undying scene. But, you know, that's for later.
I mean, like, I think that, like, with Amelia Clarke and Kit Harington, like, their acting is kind of consistently what it is, and I don't really think about it anymore.
I think Kit Harington is really good at having a six-pack, and that's the nicest thing I can really say about him.
You hardly ever see a six-pack on this show. No,
I know, but it's
sad.
there. Like, I think he could have a really good career in, like, modeling.
I don't know, he has that dopey
Which seems really mean, but, like, that's the best thing I can say about him.
It reminds me of Smallville with Tom Welling, where that dude just is a model and not an actor.
Yep.
And every time he's on the screen, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. He was good in that car commercial. I think that was Kit Harington's the best thing I've seen him in.
The best thing I've seen
watches
him in
now too.
Yeah, and I've seen him in 7 Days of Hell. It was an HBO mockumentary about tennis, and his character was just really dumb and had to stand looking confused. So he was great.
Perfect.
Amelia Clarke is, like, selling this perfume now where she sings in the commercial. I always, like, skip it on YouTube right after she starts to sing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know why I'm doing that.
But I mean, Sophie Turner's doing great for herself. That's nice.
Yeah, well, she deserves that.
Yeah.
She is a good actor too, I think.
She's great. No, she's excellent.
All right, let's talk about best and worst episode. Like, it's unanimous for best episode, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Blackwater.
Yeah. Definitely.
The thing that impressed me the most about Blackwater is during the course of this reread, one of the common themes was that we kept saying we just weren't really feeling the stakes or the tension. Like, things weren't built up, everything felt rushed. And even going an episode before Blackwater, it's like, wow, that battle is seriously next? Like, how are they going to pull it off where we care? And then Blackwater came and it just didn't matter. It was just perfect.
I mean, I said in our write-up that, like, this is the first episode I could think of that I could see myself in the future just turning on because I'll enjoy the experience of watching it.
Right.
You know, like, I can't really say that about any, like, even in season 1, like, I wouldn't put on Baelor just so I could watch Baelor and have fun. It's too Game of Thronesy still, you know, like, but Blackwater is just, it's very, like, it's about the rest of the season, but it's also very, like, the emotions that it provokes is completely self-contained.
Well, what I found interesting about Blackwater is, it takes place all in one theater, right? And I think that sort of makes it stand out automatically because the vast majority of the other episodes are in multiple theaters. I actually don't know if there's another single episode that's in one theater.
Watchers on the Wall.
Okay, yeah, they tried to copy what they did in Blackwater. Yeah. That makes sense.
The same with the Battle of the Bastards. It was all around Winterfell or in Winterfell, was it not?
Was it?
It was.
I think so.
At the very, very beginning, it was the Battle of Marine when Dany...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But that was only like the first 20 minutes, and then it became nothing but Winterfell after that.
Right. Mm-hmm. But I think the feeling of having it be in one theater added to that pressure of, everyone is here, and these people are at the gates, and while we were getting points of view on both sides of the gate, right, it's still sort of like, this is where all the action is happening.
Were we, though? Because, like, the only real sympathetic point of view is Davos, and he was gone in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I love Davos Seaworth, so it's enough for me.
Yeah, and then after that it was like Stannis, and Stannis, as Danzie will discuss in detail, is kind of portrayed as a total asshole who's like,
Yeah.
you know, what's his
Thousands
face?
will die.
Yeah, what is that guy's name? Zap Brannigan. He's like Zap Brannigan.
It's fine. This is fine.
Oh my god.
Honestly, I actually have a really, really big problem to point out with the Blackwater because I watched it again this morning. So, when you see the Baratheon forces storm the gates, right? A couple of them are carrying Renly shields, like with the green and the gold stag, and it's like, okay,
really?
guys. Like, I know that, like, Renly had defectors. Like, that's a plot point that they don't do anything with, because they don't do Garland coming in, and I'm kind of sad that they cut that. But anyways, it's like, Stannis wouldn't be okay with you just, like, carrying Renly shields up to the gate. Like,
that's a great detail to notice. Oh,
I mean,
man.
that's one of those things that you can forgive because, like, they only had one boat. You know, that stuff.
I mean, yeah, but you can get more shields. Like, shields aren't boats. Like, you can make more of those.
I mean, they spent all their costume budget on making these, like, 3-dimensional bugs to put on the Karth outfits, that you can barely see on screen. So I guess they didn't have the budget to get more shields.
I think my favorite thing about Blackwater, too, is that Martin really wanted to give Sansa and Sandor some semblance of an arc.
Yeah.
But they didn't have anything supporting it from all season. So he just gave them, like,
I mean, like, once they met in a hallway, and she was like, thanks for the, like, saving me from the attempted rape thing. And he was just like, whatever, I don't care.
Everybody gets one, and then he walks off.
So Martin just tried to, like, boil down the themes of what happened in the book for both of them into one scene, and it kind of worked.
It's the only scene, like, I wish that had been longer, but that episode was so condensed. The end of the episode, like, Tywin comes in, and he's like, we won, and then the editor's already, like, fading to black. Yeah, so it's very condensed. Like, I don't know, it's weird, because it's not enough for 2 episodes, I don't think, but it needed to be like an episode and a half, if that makes sense.
Well, they did that with Watchers on the Wall in season 4. That was a battle and a half, because it ends with Jon going off to kill Mance Rayder.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
With one of the only good Stannis scenes, actually. Well, except for the scene with him and Shireen where he's like, I love you and you're my daughter and, like, you're a Baratheon, but of course
Hey, Daddy, if you need to burn me, you could.
Oh, that was a great scene, and then you ruined it, like you were almost there, HBO, and...
Well, they put that in there for that purpose.
I could do to help you win.
Yeah.
I have a question about Blackwater. The only scene in Blackwater that, like, always kind of, I just had questions about was at the very end when Cersei thinks, I guess they're gonna be stormed, and she's like maybe gonna poison Tommen. Do you think Brooke Cersei would do that?
Yeah.
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 I do. Not without second thought, but she's very, like, self-preservation-y. She ties so much identity to her kids anyway. If it's certain doom, kill them before anything else can happen. I could see that.
I've always kind of been back and forth on that. I don't know. Not like because she loves her kids or anything, but, like, I just don't know if she thought the city was actually getting, like, stormed, if, like, her first priority would be, well, first let me make sure that Tommen's taken care of. I think if anything she'd be more concerned with herself.
I don't know. It worked for me. I could see it. I could see why you'd be like, maybe not.
And it's her exercising control in a way that she feels like she can.
Yeah, that's true.
She feels like she's, like... It's sort of weird that Joffrey wouldn't be there. Like, she wouldn't want to poison him, too.
Yeah, he kind of disappeared. Where'd he go?
But, yeah, he just kind of took off.
Out of the bed, probably.
No, but that's fair, but it's like she's just gonna poison Tommen and herself on the throne, and Joffrey's just gonna, I don't know, I assume if Stannis had stormed the gates, like, just get killed? She was gonna be happy with that. So that's a bit weird. Like,
yeah,
Joffrey just kind of going MIA in the last 20 minutes of the episode was sort of weird.
He and Lancel were hanging out. I don't know. I don't really know what was
I like
happening.
that Lancel was maybe doing the same thing, and he had a bottle of poison, and he's, like, stroking Joffrey's hair like it's gonna be okay.
Oh my god.
He, like, tells him a nice story.
Then Lancel cuts his hair, gets hot, and joins a cult.
He gets really hot, though.
Alright, so worst episode of the season. I mean, I have my answer.
What's your answer? Because I can't think of a single episode, but...
Okay, so Vanessa Taylor's first episode, Garden of Bones, where it was the sexual violence happy hour.
What happened in that episode?
Okay, so...
Yes, please recount to all of us that episode,
so Rob meets Talisa, who amputates a man's foot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's their meeting. Gendry, Arya, Hot Pie arrive at Harrenhal, and that's with, like, the woman being like, they killed someone today. They killed someone yesterday. Yeah. And it's like that whole thing, and the weasel eating the dude. or whatever that rodent was.
I
was a
think it was a
rat,
rat, right?
And then Tywin comes at the end and is like, this one's a girl. So that happens.
I forgot about that.
In King's Landing, Joffrey's being a giant asshole, so he, like, has Sansa beaten, and Tyrion intervenes, and then Bronn's like, oh, let's send him a sex worker. So then Roz and the other sex worker go in, and
Her name is Daisy.
Daisy.
Wow.
Okay, Roz and Daisy go in, and Roz has to beat Daisy at his command.
And then we never see her again, I don't think.
Yeah, Tyrion strong arms Lancel. Littlefinger arrives at Renly's camp and meets Margaery Tyrell, and that's when he's like, I'm very interested in our sleeping arrangements. And she's like, okay.
He's like, lol, whatever, and walks off.
Wait, is that when she has
Her
the
burrito
funnel
dress.
dress?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Oh,
Burrito
yeah.
Girls. Part 2, I think. Anyway, Renly and Stannis treat with each other, and Kat's like, if you were boys of mine, I would knock your heads together. I'm like,
That's just a book scene.
okay.
Yeah.
Stannis asks Davos to smuggle Mel for him. She births a shadow, and that's what it ends on. Then Essos is where one of Dany's Blood Riders returns with a gift from the Elders of Karth. So she goes and she's like, I love Quaff. And Zorazo and Daxos invokes Sumai and takes legal responsibility.
He cuts his hand and it's symbolic.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, shit, we can't just
we have
not
no
let her in
choice.
now.
You cut your hand open.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know. This
Okay,
is about
I mean,
as bad as it
it'd
gets.
just be hard to top that. Anyone else have an episode that's worse than that?
I don't think I do. I think
at
everything
least-
else was just kind of bad in a boring way a lot of the
Yeah,
time.
I mean, everything else just kind of like blows together, right?
Yeah, no, that you're right. That one's pretty. I mean, I have my least favorite scenes are in other episodes, but that's like, as a whole, that's like a solid 50 some odd minutes of crazy.
The only highlight that Joya was able to produce for that was Renly going, is he a ham?
It's an actual good line.
It was good. That's a good scene. I like that scene.
Yeah, no, that's well
It's
done.
just a book scene.
Yeah, yeah.
I listed my highlight as burrito dress, so we were already on to, we were already on to ironic highlights.
I mean, the burrito dress is the top of something, you know? Like, I don't know what list it's on the top of, but it's on the top.
Yeah, actually, Danzie, you listed that treating scene as your highlight too.
I did. Yeah, it's one of my favorite scenes in the books. And I don't know, I think it shows off Renly really well there. Like, Stannis
likes
is
to eat
kind of
peaches.
Stannis, but yeah, I mean, the peach is gone, and he has a sword, which is kind of like, it's more just nitpicking, but I still feel like the general themes of Renly and the general idea of Renly is there. Like, the important bits are there, right?
Yeah.
Like, his social intelligence and understanding, like, how to get under his big brother's skin, and, you know.
Yeah.
As a youngest child myself, I felt that pretty hard, but
Aw.
yeah.
As your low light that you listed for that episode was actually weirdly the shadow baby, even though you said you're by your own admission, there's definitely bigger fish to fry. But the whole like, why is Davos rowing Mel ashore? Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, do you want me to recap the whole thing here? Because it's sort of complicated.
yeah, we might
but-
as well. We're talking about this episode.
Yeah, I mean, so the reason why in the books they went under there was to kill Sir Courtney Penrose, right?
Yeah.
But the reason why they had to do that was
Storm's
because
End
they
is
had
magic, yeah.
Yeah, Storm's End is magic. It's like the wall. It was built by Bran the Builder as well. So they had to go like into shore to underneath it. Like, well,
They go through like the sex worker tunnels.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
the smuggling tunnels, and
They get like actually beyond the whatever the magical wards in the walls are.
exactly, yeah. And I don't really understand how that works. Like, does the magic go into the ground? But whatever. But anyways, like, there's a point in them going into shore, is what I'm saying. But there really isn't a point to them going underneath Renly's camp. It's not even really clear where they are. Like,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
like,
they're
can't the
under
Shadow
Renly's
Baby
camp?
can the Shadow Baby not travel across water? Like,
I mean, like, no, they never show Storm. I think I kind of assume they're at Storm's End because they go to like the sewers. And there's like a grate over like a thingy, and they're like, "Oh, we can't go any further." And she's like, "It's fine." But they're like they're like in a field in the middle of nowhere. Oh my
yeah,
god!
Renly's camp is very clearly in a tent. Like,
Yeah, like
just
she could have just
chilling.
like given birth to that shadow baby anywhere, and it could have like flied to the tent.
Well, it just sort of raises, like, plot holy nitpicks, like, can it not go across water? Can she not do it from more than 15 feet away? Can she do it from 100 feet away? Like, does she
Is it
have
like,
to...
it's like a spell? Is it like a range? You have to do
Yeah,
it?
like...
Yeah.
It,
No, yeah. So there's absolutely no reason why they were where they were.
This episode is like a really good example of the checklist effect.
Yeah.
At its finest. And that I think is like a good part of that. Add to that, you've got the sexual violence with Roz and Daisy, apparently. You've got the torture scene in Harrenhal that just like all of it just went on so long.
Yeah, like there was the thing about that episode is that like the scenes with the extreme violence just were the longest scenes ever.
And then you've got like the literal South talking field nurse that's unchaperoned and like you're fighting to overthrow a king and yet have no plan for what comes next. It's like, well, fuck
And
you, Talisa.
Oh god, where is she
Talisa,
from
what's
again?
your plan?
She's from Volantis.
Oh, right, and she's like
her plan
Volantis
is to,
royalty.
I think she wants to end slavery through field nursing.
Yeah.
She wants
As
to
you do.
amputate all the foots.
Yeah.
And then she
her-
like marries this guy, and I'm not sure what happens to that plan. Like she does some first aid a few times after that. I don't know.
It was weird that like one of the better points of this episode is Grandpappy Tywin coming in and complimenting Arya on how smart she is, because at least that's a break from like the torture porn.
Yeah.
I think those scenes are going to be great for Maisie Williams' acting role. Is the best thing I can say about that.
Smart. All right, Tywin.
Like, in a bubble, it's a really nice, like, little exchange, you know? Like, between two good actors, and then you're
Yeah, I
like, this
guess.
doesn't make sense when you zoom out, like, even a millimeter.
Yep.
What's interesting about this episode, not interesting, but like in terms of fandom dialogue, we say a lot we need more women in the writer's room. Well, this is Vanessa Taylor in the writer's
Yeah.
room, and it sucked donkey dick. So what do we do with this?
I mean, just because you're a woman doesn't mean you can write women well, though. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
It
there's...
kind of felt like she was like going above and beyond to like hang out with the boys. in the
Something
writer's
like
room or
that.
something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
could have been that.
And who knows what these writing credits mean? Like by season 7, like could you tell a Brian Cogman episode from another?
Yes, I could always
Yeah.
tell a Brian Cogman episode from a D&D episode because he writes
he uses
dialogue.
book dialogue out of context. He's like, yay, I did it! How are
Yes.
you angry, book fans? I did
Brian,
the thing.
Brian Cogman episodes, people answer each other. There's
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
context book dialogue, and he peppers in all the exposition that's been missing
Oh,
from the
poor
season.
guy.
D&D isn't people, like, talking to each other. It's just everybody has their own monologue, and they take turns monologuing.
And people
if that
talk
makes
about their
sense.
cocks.
They also
Yeah, lots of
repeat the
cocks.
same word back and forth to each other all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So it's
Terrible.
like, I'm an idiot. No, I'm an idiot. That's two
Idiot.
idiots.
Yeah.
Let's say goodbye from one idiot to another. Like, oh god.
And good luck in the wars to come.
Symbolic, because wars and things are coming.
Alright, guys, it is time for us to write our 8th grade book report.
What about the best and worst scenes?
Oh, best and worst scenes. I'm
I have a
sorry.
lot of
yeah.
scenes to complain about. But okay, but best
Well,
scene.
be positive first.
Fine.
It's a compliment sandwich. We're gonna give a compliment, and then we're gonna have a whole bunch of meaty insults in the middle, and then we'll finish it off with a compliment.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like one
have
of
that
those
many
thin
compliments,
Sandwich
though.
thins you could buy at Walmart.
Like one compliment.
It's a gluten-free compliment sandwich, so there's no bun. So it's just the insults in the middle. It's a celiac
Yeah, it's like one of those
compliment
paleo
sandwich.
burgers where the bun is a lettuce leaf. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I think, Julia, I think you were saying the best scene before.
Yeah, my best scene is definitely drunk Cersei in Blackwater.
Yeah, and I think that's hands
that's
down
great.
correct. So that's it.
I rewatched Blackwater this morning. It was so good.
She was just so, like, Cersei. It was wonderful.
I also love the weird breastplate thing that she's wearing
Yeah.
that would not protect you at all, and it was like just slapped on her for like posterity's sake.
She was just like, Sansa, let me tell you about stuff. Let me tell you about my plan to seduce Stannis Baratheon and about my childhood trauma.
It was very like drunk aunt at Christmas. I
Gender
loved it.
roles. I don't like gender roles because clearly women suck.
It was very a feast for crows, Cersei, though.
It was
See all
so
these
good.
women?
Yeah.
They totally suck, but like they know like important dudes, and all my friends are guys. Like I don't really hang out with girls too much. Are you listening, Sansa? Good. Okay. You know my son, he's kind of a dipshit, isn't he? Have fun being married to him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm doing this
I
a little too well.
I think in terms of best scenes, as much as I want to pick drunk Cersei, because that's probably the scene I enjoyed the most,
Uh-huh.
my best scene, I'm gonna actually pick Yara and Theon in Winterfell. I just thought
was a
it was
good
really,
one.
it was well scripted, and like there actually felt like there was a history between these two. You could see that Yara like has a difficulty with Theon in general, and then Theon's like stubbornness coming through. I just thought that was like a really, really good Good scene. Yep. Mm-hmm.
In the same vein, the episode in Winterfell where Luwin and Theon are talking, I think I called it D&D's best written scene. It's still, like, very D&D, but it's the best D&D you can possibly get. Where, like...
Good job, guys.
Yeah, it's still, like, him monologuing and, like, talking about the themes in a very kind of, like... I was a hostage, but you wanted me to be family, but I was still a hostage, and, I was a little messed up about that. And it was, I liked it. And Alfie Allen obviously elevated it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kylie, I just want to let you know as a side note, I'm eating some chocolate right now, so there might be some, like, crackling sounds on my recording. You can,
just keep your dogs out of it, and that's fine. That's the dip into UBS history, guys.
Oh, Daisy got adopted.
Oh, did she?
Oh.
Yeah. Danzie got adopted.
Not Daisy the sex worker, Daisy the dog.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I had a foster
I was
dog.
like, what do you mean I'm adopted? You can't just tell me like this live on a podcast. No.
No, Daisy, I had her as a foster dog for like almost a year. She just got adopted a few weeks ago.
What kind of dog?
It was some kind of mud mix thing. I don't know. She was pretty big. She would bark a lot, so a lot of our recordings would have her barking in the background.
Yeah. I should say my dog's name is Renly. He's a...
Yes.
Of course.
I had 2 guinea pigs named Renly and Loris.
Oh, nice.
Oh, my heart.
That's pretty cute.
That's pretty good. Hey, any other scene highlights?
I mean...
I think the Cersei one is hands down the best.
Yeah, I did enjoy it the most, I'll say
Well,
that.
Sansa was really good in that, too. Like, she's, like, interacting with the other, like, girls there and, like, praying, and it's like, that's a really Sansa thing to do, and you kind of get, like, she, in her own way, like, is a really good leader. Like, like that's her empathy. Like, she understands that everybody else is upset around her.
Oh, definitely.
And she does, like, I can try to de-escalate what's going on for them, and I can try to make them feel better in whatever small way I can.
Yeah, Sophie Turner needs to be given stuff to do, but she's good. Like, she's really good.
Great. She's great.
Yeah.
I think she's fine. I'm not super impressed. I'm not
find
like
good scenes.
Oh, wait, I almost forgot about the really good scene where Margaery comes into Renly's tent to have some sex and pops her tits out. And...
Yeah. It's like, if you know he's gay, why do you think getting your tits out is gonna seduce him? Like, he's not into that. Like, you just established that that's...
She doesn't know where on the Kinsey scale he is.
Well,
she knows that he's into her brother.
That's definitely not the worst scene, but that's not a good scene.
No. I mean, one of the best scenes was the one that they cut.
Yeah.
No, I'm still not over it.
Mm-hmm. It's a deleted scene in between Margaery and Loras, where Loras is actually
after Renly dies,
mourning Renly and saying that he loves him, and Margaery's like, our family needs you. I understand, but it's like really touching, and they hug, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, and not only that, but
Loras
it's like
is just like, I'm really good about this. He was the love of my life, and she's just like his sister, but she's also like being very politically pragmatic about it.
Yeah.
And they cut another scene. It was a horrible scene, but it was kind of important, where Doria kills Eerie.
Yeah.
And without that scene, like, it just makes Dany seem like a crazy person who, like, locks her friend up in an airless vault.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Karth was bad.
I mean, that's a pretty horrible thing to do to someone even when they kill one of your other best friends, but...
Can we talk about worse scenes? Because I have many bones to pick with Karth.
Okay, should I, like, put the timer on and limit this to 30 minutes?
We can definitely talk about worse scenes, because we're already talking about Marge's tits, so...
Yeah,
Yeah.
So...
I mean, that wasn't even, like, that's not even on my top 5 list, I don't think.
No, there's so much worse, but...
No, not
But Caroline, what were you going to say about Karth?
What am I not going to say about Karth?
Was there any good scenes in Karth?
No.
I liked when the Dothraki were debating how much money they could get if they stole something.
That was cute.
Yeah,
that was cute, and that was very Dothraki too. So that I agree with you. That was cute. I'm just gonna make 2 main points. One, why was Kythe there? Or Quaithe, or however you say her name. Quaithe.
That's how Roy Dotrice.
That's how Roy
That's
Dotrice
she says Quaithe. I don't know, that sounds kind of
Oh my
vulgar,
god, what a wasted character. I've forgotten about her because they did absolutely nothing with her.
And the thing
First of all, she's not supposed to have a relationship with Jorah. She's supposed to have a relationship with Dany.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's supposed to prophesy to Dany because she's the one with the magical destiny, not her fucking stalker.
And here, the other thing too is the costume. I've always had an issue with this costume because it's like, they did this neat little mask doodad, fine. But if you read the book description and you can like look up online, some people have done fan art of it. the mask is supposed to be like sort of smooth, and she's supposed to have like, this kind of cloak thing going on, and it's creepy as shit.
It might be one of the most checklisty things they've ever done, is Quaithe.
That's
wow, she
like,
sure is here.
Exists.
And she has the Bravo's hamburger buns on the back of her head.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Also gluten-free, by the way.
By the way, as a quick side note, can we just at least say that Roy Dotrice's character was not wasted?
Oh, and in Blackwater, he was there smirking at all the horrible destruction.
So good.
Oh, no.
I love that they did that with him. But anyway, I'm sorry, continue your Karth rant.
It's okay.
Quath.
I mean, okay, that actual line was actually pretty good.
Well, why would she have ever mispronounced it? It's not like she's ever seen a spelling of it.
All she's done is heard it.
They said Karth.
Yeah.
Why would she think that was spelled with a Q, that she would mispronounce it? It never makes any sense. Nothing they do ever makes any sense.
It's probably Karth, not Karth, so...
It's supposed to be funny, because foreign words.
Yeah. I mean, like, that whole scene is probably on my list just because, like, it's like, oh, hi, D&D and Orientalism. Because, like, it's actually, that's the Vanessa Taylor episode, but,
Yep.
just, like, this whole thing where just, like, oh, we have these inscrutable rules, but if you perform this, like, ritual that involves blood and cutting your blood open with this ornate knife, then all of a sudden, there's absolutely no way that we can object in any way.
Yeah.
You cut your hand open with a knife, so now we're stuck.
Yeah.
Because we
Wait,
have all
guys.
these arbitrary and unfathomable rules.
Guys, remember that Quaithe had a tattoo parlor?
Oh,
Yeah. That was
it was
right.
like a body paint parlor. Because
No,
he
I
was
don't remember
going
that
to
at all.
he was going to Valeria, and he needed protection.
Right. Oh, why do you do this to me? I can't. And then my other issue with Karth broadly is the entire unfolding of the House of the Undying. The House of the Undying scene in the books is probably one of my favorite sequences in the entire series.
Well,
it's excellent.
It's one of the
Yeah.
most important in terms
Yeah.
of like the mythos.
Exactly. And it could have been visually so interesting. And so what they did instead was like, okay, fine, somebody stole her dragons. I don't care about that. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I get it. You have to make it more dramatic. That's fine. But she could have. I mean, I'm not. It's not the worst. It's not the worst thing. I'm not here for it. But I'm not like. I don't super care. What I care more about is that they bothered to have her have some visions in the House of the Undying and like the throne room with the snow and seeing Khal Drogo and the sun and that kind of shit. But they didn't do anything that mattered with it. And they didn't do any of the foreshadowing they could have done. I mean, they knew, D&D always said they wanted to adapt the Red Wedding. They knew that was coming. Why didn't they put that foreshadow scene in there?
That would have been so fucking creepy.
And, like, the thing about that, too, because I talked about her arc in the finale rewatch post, because I was saying, you know, it seems as if they were setting it up like, oh, Dany needed to learn to put aside her love for Drogo and focus on the dragons. But she did that? That's what burning him on the pyre and hatching them was about?
Yeah.
Like, that happened. So I just don't understand why they thought this was, like, necessary or even dramatic in any way.
Because people love Jason Momoa.
Basically, yeah.
I mean,
You could have had that vision and other things if they were that into Jason Momoa.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, like, and like all like, yeah, like the Red Wedding stuff, the R plus L equals J stuff, and like the whole thing with like the elders about like, you know, the three loves and
Oh, yeah,
all that
that's
three,
stuff.
yeah.
three X
Three
you will know,
treasons
yeah.
and yeah. Like
Yeah.
that's like kind of what Dany in the books is all about, that stuff, you know, and she
Right.
fixates
Hell,
on
yeah.
that stuff.
Obviously, they're team John and Dany shipping. Like,
Yeah.
seed that.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that this is part of the, I think in season 1, you know, one of the cracks in the plaster there was that they skipped Ned's fever dream, right?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
we skipped that important point to seed R plus L equals J. Here, we skipped the vision in the House of the Undying that seeded R plus L equals J. And so, like, yeah, of course, then when you roll up seasons later, people think that's like an incest baby or whatever it was, you know? because they didn't do any of the legwork, but they had the screen time for it. And
Because
didn't-
they very clearly write one season at a time and don't look ahead at all.
And like their entire kind of MO is that you have to be completely surprised by what happens. And that's not as bad in season 2 as it will get, but apparently it was always like, that was always their driving motivation with anything R plus equals J, because people might figure it out. Oh my god.
Yeah, so Caroline, do you think that, like, the worst scene takes place in Karth? Because I agree it's the worst plot line.
I mean, I found all of Karth very offensive just because I'm very emotionally attached to Daenerys. I found the Quaithe scenes to be really, really dumb. And like her little speech to Jorah is like, you must protect her, people will come for her. Fire is power, dragons are fire made flesh. Like, that was dumb. Like, what are we doing?
Why didn't you tell her that, Quaid?
Yeah.
You useless person.
Yeah, like, you don't know who Jorah is. Like, how do you know he's gonna relay this important stuff?
I mean,
like,
I think that there are probably other scenes that are, like, objectively worse, but, like, subjectively, to my little geeky soul, the butchering of the Karths, like, all the things in Karth made me so mad. And
across the board, it was not very strong.
Like, the whole vault thing is dumb, and they, like, breathe fire on everyone.
And she tilts her head back as
and somebody told Emilia Clarke, like, lean backwards like you're trying to fall backwards. And she, like, lifts her head so high you can barely see her face. It's just dumb. So, like...
I think she's supposed to look like Jesus or something.
They just didn't really know how to end it. They're like, we need a climax. Stuff him in the vault.
Just, like, burn the guy.
Yeah. Okay. Like, sure. We're going.
Problem solved.
Was, like, putting them in the vault supposed to be them getting their comeuppance? Were we supposed to be like, yeah... Rich guy?
Yeah, why did she do... I don't understand. Oh, because wasn't he involved in stealing her dragons? Isn't that the implication?
Yeah, he also, like, murdered the 13, but she doesn't give a shit.
Well, like... he murdered a lot of her Khalasar as well.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I guess that was
just like they were saying, like, if, like, Doria actually betrayed her, and you showed it, then you can make some argument for her, like, you know, executing her, even though it's an extremely cruel way. But, like, as far as we can tell... Like, Doria, who's spent her entire life as a sex worker, was, like, put in this, a sex slave, was put in this position where this guy is like, oh, I'll let you live, even though, like, everyone else around you will die, as long as you have sex with me. And she'd be like, oh, okay, that's basically what I've been doing my whole life anyway.
You know? Daenerys, he cut his hand for you. How dare you remind him of this? Sorry, carry on.
There's nothing that was actually shown gives her any agency in it.
No.
But she's punished
for it.
Things
just happen
anyway.
around her in, like, a big swirling blender of scenes.
My scene low light, it doesn't get worse than Joffrey ordering Roz and Daisy to abuse each other. Like, that's definitely the worst. But I will say another general plotline low light for me was Jon.
Sam.
Oh, yeah. Well, but, like, wasn't his plotline mostly just, like, poking at the ground for things? And then he hangs out with the army of the dead.
The thing I, like, really hate about the Night's Watch is they really play up, like, the worst thing about being a Night's Watch is the celibacy thing. Like, not the fact that you could die at any minute from, like, the cold, or, like, wildlings, or just, like, exposure in general.
They won't, like, they can't get their fuck on, so therefore.
Like, a rich boy from the South would be more concerned with, like, surviving to the end of the day.
Yeah. But, yeah, the entire, like, North of the Wall thing was, like, the only highlight, and it's not even a highlight because it's not enough to make even one scene actually enjoyable, was Rose Leslie and the way she plays Ygritte.
She's just so here for it.
Yeah.
Like, she wants to be there. The Spice King is another one of those characters that just wants to be there, and you're like, I wish I could like the scene more.
Yes, the Spice King was so good.
I mean, like, she could have, like, played the actual Ygritte, and it would have been great.
Well, they have just better chemistry than Daenerys
obviously.
and Jon end up... Well, yeah, no, of course, because they ended up getting married in real life, but it's like, it's just the stark contrast between that versus what we get later, and Daenerys and Jon, like, oh boy, does it not stand up well. Yeah. Or even, like, Daenerys and Drogo had better chemistry, like... It just feels like they're, like, sadly rebounding, because, like, their original partners that they loved died.
Oh my god, that is... Yeah, because, like, Danny and Hizdar had... Or not Hizdar, oh my god. Dario, I keep doing this. They had chemistry, too.
Better chemistry, too. Yeah. It's a problem.
Both Darios
like,
are better.
It's not a small problem. It's a big deal.
Well, when you open your relationship with, hey, so I'm infertile, you know, I don't think it can really get... I think the chemistry kind of dies there.
Okay, so I think... My nominee for the worst scene is the one where Corrin and Jon fight to the death, quote unquote. It opens with Ygritte whacking Jon on the head repeatedly with Longclaw, and him being annoyed at this. And then all of a sudden, Corrin decides, okay, now's the time. Now's the time I'm going to attack Jon. And so he attacks Jon, and Jon, like, fights back in self-defense.
Yeah.
And he ends up killing him. And then all the wildlings are absolutely amazed, and they're like, oh, you're one of us now.
Yeah.
That's what happened, right?
He killed Corrin Halfhand.
Am I misrepresenting what happened?
No, you're not. When the first time I watched the show, I completely missed that like plot point entirely. I was like, "What the fuck? Who is this?"
No,
and
but
then
like
suddenly
John
he
didn't.
was their
Like
friend.
there was no decision making on John's part. The dude attacked him and he fought back,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it means he defected.
Yep.
What?
John has to instigate for it to work.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And he's so dumb that like 2 episodes before that, Korn was trying to explain the plan to him. He just like didn't get it.
He's just like
So-
gaping at him, like always.
You want me to
Okay,
do
so
what?
I'm trying to think of other bad scenes, and somewhere deep in my brain
Like all of
is
them.
a Shay and Sansa scene. I'm not remembering which one was really bad. I just remember Lady Zurif.
Oh yeah, me too. Where like Sandra's like, "Oh, go empty my chamber pot," and she's like, "Your chamber pot's empty already."
Yeah, although I actually didn't hate that for Sansa. She stressed the fuck out,
Yeah.
and then this like maid comes in,
Yeah.
who's just like staring at her, like, "I worked for Lady Zurif." Like,
Yeah, like she's exercising
Sounds like a
power
Moroccan
in whatever
spice blend.
way she can because she feels so powerless. Like,
yeah.
it works. Like, it's okay. It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with like Shay being Sansa's maid ends up annoying me so much.
I'm
That's
also
mostly
remembering the
season 3.
weird smash cut of Tyrion trying to sniff out who's loyal to Cersei.
Oh,
So
of
it's-
course. Why? Yeah, we haven't discussed this.
Yeah, so it's him talking to Varys and Pycelle and Littlefinger with different
Is
plans
that called
or
a
whatever.
smash cut where you like overlap like that?
Okay, I guess it's not a smash cut.
What's it called?
No, it's not a smash cut.
I remember
It's-
watching a video about like different kinds of cuts by the guy who like talks about things with a robot head. So one of
Yeah, I
those
don't know.
people on YouTube that I like to watch. But yeah, it's some kind of cut where like the sound from one scene overlaps the visual from another scene, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna bug me. It's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, like
Yeah.
it was very like first year film student editing. Like I like snaps for like trying to do
I
something.
mean, it was something
cool.
interesting at least, right?
Yeah, like it gets your attention because you're like, oh, interesting editing. Like it's not like it forces you to pay attention to it because it's different, but it's not. I don't know.
I think we'll talk about this more in adaptation, but the problem with that scene, I think at least for me and Kylie, is that like D&D are really like they really take Tyrion's point of view at face value,
Yeah, they're totally
Yeah.
enamored of him. Yeah.
and that scene was kind of him like not being very successful, and they don't
Yeah.
seem to realize that.
Yeah, well, because they omitted the part where Varys is like, "Oh, I know exactly what you're doing." They just like didn't include that, so Tyrion just seems really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this season was fucking long. Do you remember this is also the season where Sam forced Gilly to take his stupid thimble?
Yeah, this
That
is the
still
same
happened in
season
season 2.
where this is the season where Theon goes back to Pike and he like feels up his sister.
Yeah.
Oh
This is
yeah,
all this season. Yeah.
because that was really necessary.
Griffin really did not like that one. I think this got the biggest reaction out of him. He's like, "What the fuck? Why would she do that? Why would she just say she was his sister?"
Yeah.
Like, she was
And I
testing
think
his character.
in the book scene of that, if I recall correctly, Theon's trying to feel her up, and she keeps smacking his hands away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I feel like you're a little bit too committed to trolling your brother here. Like this isn't like.
He
Okay.
gave me an orgasm
But
for
let's talk about the
lulz.
Sam thing.
The Sam thing? Yeah, okay. So Sam is, like, very lecherous and creepy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that was shitty. I mean, I don't know. I did kind of like when he was talking about how much Gilly would like the Fist of the First Men. And Ed and Gret are like, what?
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, I was like, Gilly would love it here. He's like, what about it would she love exactly? Like,
And
what do you
Yeah,
know
and-
about her that would make you think that she likes anything?
yeah, Ed was just like, all you like about her is that she talks to you.
Yeah. And he's not wrong, is the problem.
Yeah.
Like,
But I remember Turtle Paste's comments on this episode. On that episode, she talks about like how the whole thimble thing is just like
Yeah.
putting Gilly in danger, and Sam doesn't seem to know or care about that.
Yeah, and Gilly even tells him, like, I don't want your stupid thimble. He's like,
Yeah,
I'll
like,
take
please-
it. My mom gave it to me.
and
Yeah,
she's like,
it's very
please leave me
important to
alone.
me that
Like,
you
very
take this
loudly
symbol.
and clearly multiple times.
Ugh.
Why did they change that? I mean, like, there was no need to rewrite how this happens in the book.
Yeah.
With Sam and Gilly, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just don't get this. Alright, I think worst scene, like, I don't know. maybe the extended Sansa's almost getting raped scene in the riot, or...
It's okay, she got saved from the rape, and we don't have to worry about her ever getting raped.
We just had to see a very detailed flashback of it again the next episode.
God.
Thank God.
Oh
I don't understand why you would save her from being raped just to have her be raped later. Like, do they think they're being clever? Like, do they think this is, like, foreshadowing?
I mean, they don't plan, so...
Like,
Yeah.
Well, and again, like, they didn't have her be raped because they cared about Sansa. It was because they wanted to adapt the Ramsay storyline.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So it had nothing to do
They
with
weren't
her.
even thinking about that.
well, and I almost think, like, did they have her almost get raped here to make the Hound look better?
I mean,
that's pretty bad.
my guess is that they just did it for drama. It was a rape for,
Yeah.
it was an attempted rape for drama thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, it's
Maybe
a
I'm
riot,
thinking
it's
about
dangerous, you know,
Yeah.
and instead of having, you know, like in the books, Sansa, you know, sees all these things and hears later about other people who were attacked, you know, we're just gonna put her, it's, you know, it's like a microcosm of what was to later, it's like, there we go, it's a crack in the plaster of what will come with using her as Jane Poole later.
Yeah, that's a good point. Alright, are you guys ready to do our 8th grade book report?
Always.
We have to submit it, 200 words.
Okay.
Define the theme of the season. I'm being very
I mean,
loose with this.
there's something
5-paragraph essay.
like there's something about like what am I even trying to say?
What?
I don't know. Like there's something about like because you have like all these kings who are. It's like a clash of them.
Yep.
It's like people doing horrible things because they don't want to face the consequences of doing something that's difficult or like compromising to their own external honor. So you have Theon who can't like, you know, give up Winterfell or look bad in front of his father or anything like that. He has like, there's like a lot of wounded pride this season.
Rob, maybe?
Yeah, even Rob with that, where he doesn't want to kind of follow through on the whole Frey thing because that would be too hard.
Theon is the strongest.
Yeah,
for
and
this.
Stannis even maybe kind of does this as well.
In the show, yeah, because
Yeah.
they hate him and they think he's a piece of shit. But in the books, it's very clear, like, he didn't have another choice. Like, it's stated over and over again, like, he was gonna get absolutely wrecked the next day by Renly's army.
Yeah.
So it wasn't him taking the easy way out, like, this was his only option.
And like even like, you know, Stannis in Blackwater, he like doesn't want to face the consequences of maybe like, you know, talking or waiting or anything like that, and he doesn't care how many people will die. And like Joffrey is always like that. He's just like kind of
So is the theme like hubris, you're saying, or is it like
not even hubris, but just like
I'm trying to think plotline by plotline themes.
like
Yeah.
not
Because, you're definitely right about Theon. I think you can tie Rob and Stannis into that. I'm really struggling to tie Jon into that because his arc this year just seemed to be like, you're a dumbass who doesn't understand the cues around you.
no, just like seeking, like, you know, you have people who are seeking power. I think you can tie Daenerys into this too. They like seeking power, but they don't actually want to do anything that's hard to get there. Not like hard as in like morally, emotionally kind of hard to get there.
Yeah, so Rob is one, Dany is one, Joffrey's always there with that.
Yeah.
I don't
How do
think
you tie
Tywin and
Catelyn
Arya...
and Brienne into that, though?
Yeah, I don't think you can fit Tywin, Arya, Cat, or Bran into that at all.
Yeah. I mean, Cat, I had a lot of trouble with Cat this year.
Or Tyrion, even. Because
yeah.
Tyrion was doing the hard stuff, right? Because he's so perfect.
But he wasn't willing to give up Shay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's
Oh!
true. So it is.
I forgot she existed.
It's a lot. There are a number.
How did
of
you forget
characters.
she had so much screen time?
And the, she could smell the cum from the balcony, right? That was this year?
Oh God! Why do they make me watch this show? God. No, I think that's that. There are a number of characters that have like they won't. They do what feels good. They're like Cersei or Cheryl later on. They're doing what feels good. You know.
I poisoned you because it feels good.
No, but like Stannis, I mean, this is a character flaw of the actual Stannis. Danzie, I hope I'm not pissing you off by saying this. That, like, he could have come to some kind of compromise with Renly. And they could have, like, you know, fought the Lannisters together. You know, like, Renly doesn't have any kids yet. You could have worked it out. And, like, you know, but, you know, Stannis has that kind of pride that didn't let him do that.
Right.
And
I think Renly it was equally his compromise to make, too.
yeah.
Like, I think that they struggled with the whole entitlement thing. Not entitlement even, but just sort of like, stubbornness is the big common theme.
Yeah, but it is
brothers.
entitlement. Like, I mean, like, Daenerys definitely has that sense of entitlement. It's not really like entitlement is just, like, it is entitlement, but not the way that we talk about, like, you know, rich white boys feeling entitled to things. It's more like, you know, like, I feel I have this right, and I won't compromise that, even if that might be the right choice morally.
So is it people not compromising? Is that the theme?
It's not even not compromising. It's like kind of just, it's not necessarily compromising. It's any kind of like hard thing. Like Rob, he won't marry the Frey.
Hey, Julia.
Yeah?
Is this just the intersection of the personal and the political?
I suppose it could be.
Yeah.
Which is the theme of the series.
Right. But, I mean, I don't think that... I think it's hard to fit the Daenerys plot into this because she won't do anything, really. Because she just keeps demanding
Daenerys is kind of steamrolling everyone around her.
But
Because she has this goal of, like, winning back the Iron Throne. But, like, she has a magical destiny, I guess. But, like, what is she willing to do to get there? And is that really the right choice for her to make?
No, that's her arc, though. Her arc is coming around to Jorah's idea of let's take a small boat.
Yeah, but that's not actually what gets her anywhere, but gets her something. She's very reactive this season, right? So it's like,
His pitch literally was like that, like, yo, I'm gonna get you some boats, and she's like, okay, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go.
But then you have, like, the whole thing with XXD offering to marry her and give her all this money.
And she wanted to, until Jorah said, I'm gonna get you a boat. And then the last scene is like her being like, I think we can buy that boat now.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Literally the entire gain that they got from all season long was just she got some boats.
Yeah.
She lost a bunch of her people, but boy, she has a boat now.
Yeah.
And season 3 opens with her on the boat.
No, doesn't season 3 open with her meeting Barry the Scary?
No, she's on the boat
on
and
the
the
boat
dragons
first.
are flying around, and then they come to Slaver's
Astapor.
Bay to look at the Unsullied.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's when we meet Barry the Scary?
That's when we meet very scary, yeah.
He
The
stops
real
a
House of the
scorpion?
Undying Vision was the friends we made along the way.
It was the boats we purchased.
Okay,
along
so
the
I
way.
think we all understand what the theme of the season was.
I think that's really the only thread that can unify everything, because no matter what, there's going to be outliers that they clearly didn't think through. Like, Tywin and Arya, what was the theme of that?
But, like, I mean, like you said, like, personal and political, like, this is a show about characters in politics. Of course, that's the theme, you know, like, but, like, we
there's
can't
nothing
get any
else.
Get
deeper
really
than that.
generic with like, oh, family, honor, duty. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Boxes.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't think we're doing very well in our 8th grade class.
We like our actors, so we're gonna put them in scenes where they have no business being or saying the things that they are.
No, but I do think the issue is that when Martin tries to create these intentional parallels, like, boy, would show watchers be floored to think that Jon and Dany are supposed to be paralleling each other, because that's not in evidence at all this year.
Nope.
It's just not. And then you've got, oh right, Arya and Sansa are supposed to be paralleling each other, right?
Yeah.
And I
Sure.
guess they are, in the sense that, like,
They're both in shitty castles.
Yeah.
they're both in shitty castles and they, like, pop up and do nothing.
They're both really good actors. Actresses.
Actors. We've declared war on the word
Yeah, Kylie
actress.
and Julia have declared war on the word.
Have we?
actors.
Okay.
They don't like unnecessarily gendered nouns.
Alright, I wasn't here for that.
Male seamstresses are seamstresses.
Very good performers.
There you go.
Nailed it.
This actually leads us, though, into cracks in the plaster, because I do want to talk about Arya and Tywin at Harrenhal a little bit, and I can't think of another place to put that other than cracks in the plaster.
Mm-hmm. How is that a crack in the plaster?
It's what we were just saying. It's kind of that, like, foregrounding of actor talent over necessarily any sort of narrative considerations. So, Tywin is a very compelling man with a wonderful voice and a lot of presence. So they wanted to showcase him. Maisie Williams, again, fantastic actor, good presence, put them together and do something with it. Wouldn't it be more exciting, I guess? And
Yeah.
it wasn't, because they couldn't actually have an effect on each other.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't change the outcomes in any way.
I mean, like,
And then it...
there's
sorry.
that one scene where Tywin is, like, having a war council and he decides to go to King's Landing. Where, like, I'm not upset that we got to actually see that. But other than that, like, from his part, there's absolutely nothing that didn't just like kind of like muddy everything, because like he's this like great patient guy. He's nice to like lowborn northern girls, and he's just surrounded by all these idiots and poor Tywin. It was just like, no, Tywin Lannister is just some violent asshole.
And it creates the giant plot hole of Arya having the 3 kills at the same time she's in the same location with Tywin Lannister.
Yeah, but
and
that's
not
just dumb.
using one on Tywin Lannister immediately. You know, like
you're also not really supposed to sympathize with Tywin.
Yeah, like
kind
seriously.
of important to a lot of other characters that you don't sympathize with him. Like really, really important.
But didn't
like,
you know he's awesome and amazing and like the best ever, and he was like an amazing hand.
And it kind of just makes them both look like idiots, is what the issue is. Because Arya, she has that kill, and especially the first one, she comes out of a council where Tywin is like, I'm going to kill Robb. Like, that's basically the outcome of it. And she walks out of that, gets the 3 kills, and is like, I picked the tickler. What?
Yeah. The tickler.
Tywin put a stop to the tortures already.
Yeah.
So, what?
You know that, like, Tywin employs the tickler, and, like, you could kill him and then subsequently stop the tortures. Like,
I mean, like,
also
in the
Tywin
books
already
where she picks Chiswick, it's like a very immediate kind of emotional reaction.
And it was to test it, too.
Yeah.
Which you could say, but like, test it on Tywin, who just said he was going to kill your brother.
Yeah.
And then she like watches him leave, like, oh no.
Tywin
no
salad!
Yeah. Like, Tywin knows Arya Stark is missing. And he realizes that his cupbearer is a girl from the north who is highborn. And he's just like, that's weird.
No, but they wanted to have their cake and eat it too, because they wanted all those seeds, but they didn't want Tywin to be dumb enough to not notice who she is, so they just kind of like did both.
Yeah, and even if she wasn't Arya Stark, she was just some random highborn northern girl, that's a prisoner for you, Tywin.
Yeah, that's a really good prisoner.
I mean, there is that honeypot that he was keeping her prisoner the whole time, right?
No.
Like, when he
just
leaves,
left and forgot about her?
when he leaves, he like specifically mentions her to Gregor Clegane, who's going to be the Castellan, right? So that like suggests that he should watch her, but like kind of not in evidence at all.
I do like the idea, yeah, he's keeping her prisoner. Griffin assumed that was the case. And then, you know, she just rides off and she's like, oh no. He's like, you'll be a great cupbearer for the mountain. What?
And like you do lose a lot of stuff that Arya goes through in Harrenhal doing that, because she's like, you know, up in the tower with the lords instead of like, you know, scrubbing stairs like she's supposed to be. And like she does get there eventually in the book, like she's Roose Bolton's cupbearer, but she does quite a bit to get there. He just doesn't like scoop her up in the courtyard on the first day.
Smart.
Ugh. I mean, they probably just didn't have time for weasel soup, but that's too bad.
Guess they could have if they cut out, like, you know, Tywin comparing her to Cersei.
I mean, it's all like the whole thing is kind of really involved.
So I mean, I agree. I think that that's a big beginning of a crack in the plaster in terms of going forward, like that they shenanigan things to get certain actors in certain places. I think the biggest example probably being getting Sophie Turner to Winterfell with Ramsay. You know, so definitely.
Yeah.
I think another crack in the plaster is probably the gay jokes. They kind of start this season.
Yeah.
And they kind of don't get better.
Renly screwing up his face in disgust as he's trying to kiss Nat Dormer, like, okay.
Well, I guess that started last season.
Guys.
There were some gay jokes last season too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not quite the level of this year.
And then ironically, a couple seasons later, they're like, organized religion that hates gay people is bad. We're so progressive. And it's like, okay, but you just made all of these horrible jokes and like turned Loras into like a horrible stereotype.
Yeah.
Like you don't really get to do that now.
Although I do kind of like the scene with Renly and Loras where Loras is like grumpy about Brienne. So Renly tries to kiss him and Loras just has this grump face on.
He's just
so
like,
it doesn't
go fuck
work.
my sister.
It's like, no. That is definitely a crack in the plaster. Another crack in the plaster is very obviously Kat's scripting this year.
Yeah.
It started last year. She's made a bit more passive. That conversation with Rob in the episode we just watched, too, where he was basically like,
Calling her impulsive.
you're impulsive, and therefore my marriage to Talisa is fine. What?
But, like, did they not watch the same thing that we watched? Where, like, they were about to kill Jaime Lannister, and she let him go, like, as much to prevent that as anything else? Because, like, okay, so you have a dead Jaime Lannister. What use is that to anyone?
Right.
Yep.
So, however, the biggest, I don't even call this a crack in the plaster, I call this the Kool-Aid Man busting through the wall, is Talisa. It's definitely Talisa. Because this is just like, what is setting? What is patriarchy? We also need to fix that stupid Jane Westerling, because no one would actually like her.
Well, they couldn't tell the Jane Westerling story because that was from Kat's point of view, right? The thing about Rob and Jane, it wasn't a romance. It was a Kat's teenage king son fucking up and her trying to make it work anyway. And but that was entirely about the patriarchy, and they couldn't tell that story because then it would be about Kat and not about the romance.
Right.
So.
And they want their high young actors to make out. Right. That tests better than Grumpy Mom.
I also remember the first time watching this being like, oh yeah, they're into each other. This is kind of hot. This time around, I was just like, what? Why is she asking for turpentine? What the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, and also, not for nothing, silk bandages are actually, like, really bad.
Are they?
She's like, I need more silk for stitching. Silk is actually, at least from what I've read, I mean, having never stitched any wounds with silk myself, silk is, like, really bad. It, like, helps bacteria fester and shit. So it's actually
it also
really
doesn't
bad.
absorb for shit.
I know, in World of Warcraft, the silk bandages are better than the linen bandages.
Well, you can use silk in a way you can't use synthetic materials, because it's, like, biological materials are okay for that, but this isn't...
Julia, we haven't used silk bandages in World of Warcraft for several expansions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, guys, that was a while back.
We were using netherweave. Yeah.
I haven't played World of Warcraft in a number of years.
No, but I mean, silk can be used in medical applications. It will have bad consequences.
Why not wool? Like, wool would be way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I just like Talisa is the Kool-Aid Man through the wall.
She
Bring me some denim jeans to stop the bleeding.
Oh my god!
I know, it's just like her outfit is so fucking dumb. She's wearing like a blue dress with like a white apron. I'm like, where the fuck did this come from?
It looks like the Virgin Mary. She really does.
The slave that saved her brother knew CPR, which is like that was not a standardized practice for a very, very long time. Like. There were ideas of it, but the idea that he knew exactly how to do the chest compressions and blow in the guy's face at the same time, like, maybe he's a time traveler too. I don't know.
Maybe this will all
And then she cuts off that guy's leg, and Rob's like, it's so hot. Oh, man.
Oh, God.
I mean, like, the gratuitous sex workers, I think, are increasing in pace. I do think they peak in season 5 with the 7 kinky gods. But that's
the stranger with the backwards wig.
Yeah, that slope is continually going upward, I think, throughout this season.
I just like when Varys comes to Roz and is like, I think they're wasting your talent. It's like, what? What talent? What
Remember
are you
that scene
about?
of the opening episode where she's giving like Daisy a tour of the brothol and just like bad-mouthing all the other sex workers?
Yeah.
She's a bit of a dumb whore, but you know.
And she like quotes stuff that Littlefinger said in the first season. And you're just like, what happened to you, Roz? I thought you were one of us.
Yeah, but you're right. Like, any issue that comes later, like, you can find it in this season. Mm-hmm. You can. If it's the homophobia, it starts here. If it's the
overture.
Right? The disregard for the setting, it starts here.
The fact that, anything that is even vaguely original and they write is horrible.
Where are my dragons?
But you don't see it as much because there's still so much of the source material mixed in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not as obvious because, like, there's still, like, the ideas of strong writing there. So.
Yeah, like all the Winterfell stuff.
A dream of strong writing.
Yeah.
Alright. So, they're fans of, like, calling back. This is more with season 1 that this was a thing in later years, but... Was there any, like, future callbacks that originated here, or things that were just really infuriating in hindsight?
I mean, Talisa's really infuriating all the time. Callbacks?
Well, they kind of call back to Robin Talise's wedding with the staging of R+L.
Kind of,
and
I
that
guess.
wedding.
The first time we meet Stannis, he's burning statues, not people, like they stayed in season 5.
Yes! And they say it a bunch.
Yeah, he doesn't burn anybody, not even in the books, I don't think, until after Blackwater, right?
Yeah,
That's
but
when,
he
like, things
he doesn't
shit gets
burn
real.
people just because he's an asshole. Like, he burns somebody who deliberately was selling information to the Lannisters. Like, that's not a small treason, right? Like,
yeah. And there's the whole thing about, like, he needs, like, the winds or something to go up to the wall and stuff like that, right? That was part of it, too. Anyway, he's not, like a burn-happy person. He just, it's basically like a method of execution that is favored by his new faith that he's
and he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
Like, Melisandre is just a means to an end for him, or her powers are just a means to an end for him. Like, he's actually, like, super atheist in the books.
Yeah.
Like, he's not religious at all. Like, he even has a speech of, like when he saw his parents die in the Blackwater, in Shipbreaker Bay, yeah. And he goes, I stopped believing in gods that day. And it's sort of like a really powerful moment where, like, in his formative years, that changed him a lot. And it's a big deal that he's not religious, right?
Yeah.
So.
How do you feel about the way they play up his sexual relationship with Mel?
I don't like it, Julia. Next question.
Please, tell me more.
I think that Stannis, in my mind, at least in my headcanon, is very asexual in the books. And I think that he's...
Oh, yeah.
Sort of an interesting, like, I don't think it works, like, him having sex with her. Like,
I'm not even him, just because I think it's clear that he does have sex with her in the books.
Yeah,
but like the way that
it's
he's
not...
constantly distracted by her butt and stuff,
Well, and it's kind of presented as this, like, giving into your devil kind of thing, because they also do a lot of the devil angel over the shoulder framing with Mel, not so much this season, but to come. So it's kind of like this seduction and giving into his worst instincts, and sometimes he chokes her.
And that's just it. Like, I feel like in the books, like, if they are having sex, it's a very, like, he's laying back and thinking of England because that's how her powers work kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, well, I gotta have sex with her to see the shadow baby to kill my brother. Yeah, okay.
Not because he's like, oh man, she's so hot. I don't know.
That said,
didn't the guy who played...
no, I was just gonna say, Karis Von Houten is too good for this shit. That's the one thing.
You can say that about, like, almost everybody.
I know, but, like, by season 7, she's really just so sad to be there.
Yeah. She just comes out to exposit and she's like, well, isn't it crazy, John, how sometimes things happen and I have to go now because I'm pregnant. Bye. Yeah.
That's so accurate.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Was it even John? No, was it... No, it was Varys. It was Varys, right?
Varys. Yeah. But she's just sad and looking off to the middle distance all the time. You're like, okay.
She's like, I have to go now. My planet... We're not going to see her next season. I would stake money on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's my prediction. I don't think we're gonna see her. 6 episodes left and all the shit they have to get done. She's not coming back.
6 episodes? Or that was 7?
It's 6. Isn't it 6? I'm pretty sure
I thought it was 8, actually. I thought it was 13 between season 7 and 8.
I thought it was 6.
I also thought it was 6.
The last one is probably gonna be double, right?
Wait, I did the math wrong. That would be 6.
Yeah. But is the last one gonna be a double episode, though?
It's gonna be like a movie length.
Oh, God.
Oh, the smashy.
One of my friends' fathers is, like, really into the show and the books, and he's got a theory that Arya is going to kill Melisandre based on that one time they met in the woods. Of all the woods to meet in! And that was like, Melisandre was like, I see eyes, and you're gonna, kill all these eyes that I see, and then she, like, names random colors. So, I don't know.
Oh, Because Arya took Mel off the list.
I know, and that's what I said when I was told this theory, but, I don't believe it. But...
Don't base any theories on the show, guys. Not worth it.
It would make about as much sense as anyone else killing her.
Yeah.
So,
who knows who Arya's gonna kill next?
Or she could, fall down an elevator shaft, and it'll be like, oh, it was so dramatic.
Julia.
Nobody saw this coming, it's so shocking.
Julia, I am surprised, though, that you didn't mention this one thing for things that are infuriating in hindsight. Who sailed off with Marcella?
Oh, right. Eris Oakheart, apparently.
Right, so Kingsguard left with Marcella, but they just do not give a shit about numbers of Kingsguard or...
I mean, by season 5, they're just bodyguards. Like, they're just... first of all, they're always there all at once. These are the best knights in the land. They're not just, they're guards that stand behind you. Yeah.
Remember when Bronn was made the head of the City Watch this year?
Right.
Oh, boy.
Why? Oh, he's qualified.
I
All
mean,
right.
he's more qualified than Dario to run Slaver's Bay.
Fair.
All right, it is time to talk adaptation. We've touched on some of these
We've
things
touched
before.
on all of these things.
Yeah, but we have to talk a little deeper about the Baratheon brothers and
Black
that
and yellow,
portrayal.
black and yellow, black.
I don't know how anyone can root for Stannis after watching this season.
I mean, like...
Did anyone ever root for Stannis? I mean, other than his book fans?
Stands. There's a lot of
Yeah,
them.
but they're book
Yeah.
fans. They're not show fans.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're book fans,
There's
yeah.
no show Stannis fans. Like, or
There
if there
can't
is,
be.
I've never met them.
No.
What's to like, right? Like, I don't blame people who haven't read the books for not liking Stannis. Like, how could you?
I mean, that whole thing about
Like-
thousands dying, like,
There's nothing to redeem here.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't feel even remotely sad when he kills his brother. He burns his daughter. I guess he has one awesome scene where he saves Jon at the wall, but, like, that's it. Like,
He corrects grammar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is kind of funny, but, like, that's... Like, you need more than just, like, him being really anal about the way people talk. Like,
I will say, though, I remember liking Renly more the first time around, like, to the point where, D&D just favored Renly so much. This time
they
around,
do.
it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, he's funny, but he wasn't really in it for that long.
no, he really
like,
wasn't.
He's dead by the beginning of episode 5?
Yeah. Yeah.
but I mean, I could go off on a tangent about how I think Renly was kind of a really wasted character in the books, and that's kind of one of my grievances of, like, he had so much potential, and I think that he should have stayed around for at least another book, but I don't know. But I mean, on the show, like, I think, like I say, I think that the general themes are there. Like, he's this good-looking guy with the good hair and the, like, flashy armor, and, like, you get why people would rally around him, right?
Right.
Like, you get it. Like, he is the quarterback who, you know, like, secretly is banging the linebacker. But, you know, like, he, you know, they're, like, he and Margaery are the quarterback and, like, the cheerleader, right? Like, they are the good-looking people that people just naturally flock to because of their charisma. And, like, moreover, because of his really, really in-depth, like, social intelligence. Like, he can read people really well, and he understands what people like, and he's a really good politician.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Didn't he have a scene where he's like, Littlefinger, I don't like you and I don't like your mustache?
Yeah, I liked that scene, actually.
Yeah, me too.
And
It was
he's funny. Like, he's
Yeah.
funny in the books, and he's funny on the show. Like, that's part of his charm, right? Like, that's why I named my dog Renly, right? Because he's, like, self-serving in the most charming way.
I read, but I named my cat Triss because all of his personality traits are so in evidence.
Nice.
I mean, I think one redeeming thing about Show Stannis is that he's friends with Davos Seaworth, and for me, that's redeeming. Because I love Davos.
Okay,
Davos
so
is great.
how do you
They
feel about how
adapted Davos
Davos was
pretty well.
adapted?
Yeah, do you think Davos came across well?
I mean, I love Davos of the books. Like, I'm like
too.
a big Davos fangirl. I just love him so to pieces.
Same. Davos is great.
My problems with Davos of the show, like, I can project enough onto Davos of the show that I, like, get by.
Yeah.
it's like I just
I
At
would
this
agree with that
point,
as well.
or like during season 2?
It
during
helps that
season
they
2.
actually like him. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very evidence that they like Davos.
Yeah.
That's why he's, like, still on the show, like, way past, like, the plot needing him in any way.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, nowadays with the seasons, it's like, what?
It's
what's
like,
even
why
happening?
is he with John? When did
He's
that
hanging
happen?
out, and he's giving motivational speeches to Jon, and it's like, thanks, buddy.
This is Jon. He's king of the north.
I love him so much. No, but I think he's fine in the Battle of Blackwater. I guess, I think, if I remember the details of the book correctly, Davos loses like a whole boatload of his kids in the Battle of
Oh
Blackwater.
yeah, he loses 4 of his sons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a big deal. He like
All of
loses
his
a ton.
sons were kind of conglomerated into one, like, sort of like,
Yeah,
a
well, that
reverse,
one
like,
like
amoeba
kid is
splitting.
like way too into Jesus and shit, and he's
Yeah.
like you know, but it's like it makes a difference that like so many of his sons died, and
Yeah.
his experience, like I really enjoy his point of view chapter or chapters. I forgot if he's got more than one for the Battle of Blackwater and him being on the boat and seeing men drowning in the fire and
Yeah, it was a
realizing
huge-
what.
It was kind of a huge deal that they made him the commander of that battle, though.
Yeah.
Because the commander
Yeah.
was supposed to blunder into it because he didn't deserve his position at all, right? Like, that was the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
So it's like, but my I guess my biggest issue is a lot of the things that came across in the book with Davos sort of were undermined in the show because the logistics of the battle were different. And while I think Blackwater was the best episode, and it's probably the best episode of the series, I still don't really get why they didn't do the whole river chain thing.
Money. It was mostly money.
Was it?
Yeah.
But it didn't make sense with this, like, we're gonna fire one magical arrow that I'm just gonna roll a natural 20 on this shot, and I'm gonna hit the magical boat, and it's gonna magically explode, and that's gonna be our wildfire trick.
Well, they didn't, because, George R. Martin spent the entirety of A Clash of Kings seeding that chain.
The chain. Oh,
and
yeah,
they didn't do any of that legwork. You can't just throw it in the last minute. Like, I'm actually glad they didn't.
You know what's weird? Is, Bronn takes the sigil of the chain on fire as his, like, personal coat of arms because he gets knighted after the Blackwater. And you can see him wearing that sigil on his outfits in later seasons.
Can you really?
Can you really?
I
You can.
before.
You can, yeah, Google it. It's really funny.
Oh, God.
It's like, that's just his sigil.
Well, even if they
he
didn't...
just likes flaming chains.
They didn't need to
Just
see
like
the
Dawn.
chain. They could have had the boats go up the up the Blackwater Rush, and they could have just had, like, a Lannister boat come in behind them to block them or something like that. Like, they didn't really need a chain.
They had one boat.
The Lannisters? Yeah.
They had one boat to film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
that
then,
showed.
like, do it with models
like-
or something. I don't know. Like, figure it out.
Like, I'm sympathetic to the fact that they had a lot of constraints in that episode, budget-wise.
I
because
don't think I was as bothered by it. It does make Tyrion seem maybe a bit more passive, but...
It seems
Like,
a lot
I
more
don't know.
reckless, because what if you have the one boat filled with wildfire, and, you know, you shoot your little arrows and you keep fucking missing, and then Davos is like, oh,
Bronn
fuck,
is a
it's filled with
great shot.
wildfire, like, turn around. And then they all, like, get the fuck out of there. Then you have a bay full of wildfire. That's a problem. I don't know. I thought it was... Even when I watched it the first time, I remember looking at that and sort of being like, this seems like a really risky... Like, you gotta really hit that in the right spot for that to work.
Well, but it's Bronn. He's excellent. He's the head of the City Watch.
Did you know he has a dick? And therefore, cocks.
I have heard that he has a tick.
He has a dick, really? He never fucking talks about it.
He had blue balls throughout that whole battle because the bells began ringing, like, right when he was about to have sex.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, with the dumb whore.
Another
who
thing
tends to
that's
be
sort
foreign.
of weird is they substituted Loras in for Garland coming back in Renly's armor, and that's sort of like... it's sort of there, but it's like, it was sort of rushed, or like they cut it for time. Like, you see him riding in Renly's armor, but it's like a 2-second shot, and then everybody's running away, but it's like, you wouldn't get that they're running away because they think it's Renly's ghost, right?
No, you wouldn't get that at all.
You wouldn't even know.
I mean,
unless
the
you
whole
read
thing
the
with
book,
that being
right?
Renly's armor and Loras being in Renly's armor, like,
Yeah,
there was
and
no
them
focus
feeling
on that at all, and most people probably missed it.
Mm-hmm.
But he takes off his helmet in the throat. Like it feels like they wanted it to be there. Like,
Yeah.
It feels like we're missing a couple scenes with that, and they cut it for
That's
time.
what always happens. They want it to be meaningful, but they don't do the work
like,
to get there.
No, but I think it was supposed to be more than an Easter egg.
Yeah.
Like, just for the book readers. Like, I think that they wanted to do something with that, because it was the whole thing of, like, Renly's, like, ghost, in quotation marks, showing up, and, like, them feeling like they abandoned the Seven for, like, this weird foreign god, and, like, they either ran or surrendered immediately, and that was basically the thing that lost Stannis the battle, right? Or a big part of it, anyways.
Yeah. That
Was them
and
freaking the
the
fuck
Lannister forces.
Oh, absolutely. But I think, like, that was, like, what broke the morale. Like, that's what broke Stannis' forces emotionally, and that was the point where they weren't going to recover that battle, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It was strange that they kind of did that half-assed.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Yeah.
They did it half-assed.
And again, Renly shields in the battle, that was kind of weird, but it's fine. Baratheons are all the same, and we can just put them on screen, and it means things.
Yeah, good shields is hard
Remember
to find.
No, I'm thinking now of the random flaming heart banner that Dany finds at the abandoned Dragonstone, and she just, like, tears it down dramatically.
Right, because nobody's living at Dragonstone.
I know, they shit on Stannis, like, I know we're moving away from season 2 here, but, like, they shit on Stannis, like, post-mortemly, like, so many times, and it's like, dude, he's dead! We know you hated him! Like, they make jokes about him, like, oh, God, it was awful. It was awful.
Well, yeah, I mean, Davos comes to, like, then if your lord is evil, if he commands you to do that. And you're like, well...
Yeah. It's like,
all
we get
right.
it, guys. We get it. You hate Stannis. It's fine.
You know what I hate? Quartz.
What? Quaff?
Quartz.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about this as an adaptation of Dany's Karth plotline in season 2.
Okay, yeah, it's not like Dany's Karth plotline in the books was necessarily the best thing that's ever existed.
Yeah.
I think the House of the Undying makes up for a lot of it.
Hey,
Yeah.
no, I loved her plotline, and I loved her Karth plotline.
Well, her semester abroad?
Yeah, it
I
was
thought
like,
it was great.
I mean, like, in terms of, like, you know, content
was
for
your
one
gap
of your
year.
major characters in an entire book, it was kind of like, that's all you got. But, yeah, like,
Yeah.
there are things that redeem it, like the House of the Undying. And,
Yeah. I mean, I always enjoyed it, and I do think that the House of the Undying is some of the... I think it's some of the best writing, too. Like, there's some
That was great.
incredible imagery and stuff in there. And
It's a very, very
like,
important chapter, for sure.
Yeah. And, yeah,
I
I mean,
like
I don't
Jason
know why.
Momoa too, but couldn't we have gotten Harry Lloyd back? Like, come on.
yeah, if they had Harry Lloyd in a vision. Like, at the end of season 6, for example, if they had Harry Lloyd in a vision, that
It's
would've
Harry
been cool.
Lloyd in the tent holding the baby. He's not even in makeup.
I mean, just anything that could have, like, avoided, because, like, then, like, if we had gotten, like, a shot of, like, Rhaegar and Lyanna here, maybe we could have avoided, like, Bran and the exposition trees later, you know? Like, these are the kind of things that we could have actually seeded. I mean, then I'm expecting them to actually seed something, and why would I hold them to
And
that
plan
standard?
ahead for more
It
than 1
was
year.
such a missed opportunity. Like, all the cool stuff they could have done here, and they just didn't do anything. They just, like, showed the Iron Throne snowy, and then it's like, look, everybody, Jason Momoa's back.
Yeah, and, like, I was wondering about, because I was rewatching the scene with the Iron Throne and the snow, and I'm like, were they trying to, like, make an actual point here? Like, were they trying to say, like Jon Snow will be on the Iron Throne? Or are they just, like, is she getting a vision of the future when, like, winter comes to King's Landing?
The thing I noticed about that scene is that she's about to touch the throne, and then she doesn't because she hears the dragons screeching.
Right.
That was the moment that made me go thinking maybe they're trying to say something.
Well, I'm sure it will really all come to a head in season 8. Again, it seemed to be like, oh, you have to choose your dragons above all else, but she never hadn't. It was just,
Right.
you know, they went missing, so she went to look for them.
Yep.
But I kind of also, I love the commentary in the book that, like, when she first arrives at Karth, everyone's, like, super excited because she's got dragons and it's, like a neat kind of thing. And then after a little bit, everybody gets bored of her and sort of moves on. And, you know, that's... I don't really understand why they wouldn't let her into Karth from the Red Wastes in the show before, you know, Zarazon Daxus cuts his hand. Like,
Because she's a
Because they
revolutionary.
needed someone to take legal responsibility.
they needed what?
Yeah, because they needed the Sumai invoked so that someone would have legal responsibility.
Why? Are they expecting, like, a criminal trial? Like, what do they think's gonna happen?
Dragons burn things. I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe because, I mean, she was threatening them. That was a little weird.
I know, it was like, girl, you are not playing your cards well right now.
Yeah.
You read the room.
Yeah, really read the room.
That was
She is
strange.
consistently bad at that. That's a consistent
Like,
character trait.
she would have been so fucked if he hadn't have done that. Like, she didn't know that he was gonna cut his hand with his magic hand powers to let her in. Like, you're just yelling at these random strangers and you're not making a very good case for yourself.
What were we supposed to do with the political coup of Zarazon and Daxus and the Warlock teaming up to get rid of the 13? Like, what?
I don't know. How are we
Why?
supposed to care about that? Because, like, the 13 never did anything for us, so...
Was that supposed to be, like, their motivation for stealing the dragons? Like, that's the only thing? Or...
I don't know.
Why?
Yeah, XXC just wanted to be the king of Karth. That was his only
You could have
Why-
cut so much of this and lost nothing. Like, it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, really.
Like, actually, the entire season worth.
Yeah.
yeah.
You'd just be like, hey, where did some of her Dothraki and handmaid go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
I think
well, like,
that,
she could have, like, arrived at Karth and just been like, oh, look, a ship. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could have easily gone to Astapor in season 2.
Yeah.
I like the scene where she fed her dragons little pieces of Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, they're cooking it, and then they're eating it, and it's really cute.
It was really cute.
Yeah.
I think a crack in the plaster for Daenerys is her being unnecessarily and unreasonably, either, like, violent or angry. Because she's not like that in the books.
She's empowered,
No.
Caroline.
Yelling means you're empowered.
She believes
That's
in
what
herself.
empowerment means.
She believes in herself as
dear.
much as everyone else has beliefs in their beliefs.
No.
Real bad writing.
I have an additional question, actually, going back to Blackwater briefly.
Yeah, please.
Tyrion's wound.
His tiny little
yeah.
cut.
I get that there was, issues because of, Tyrion in the books loses his nose, it's like a whole thing, and I get that it's like, would have been really difficult for the remainder of this series to, like, video edit out, Peter Dinklage's
Yeah, they
nose.
would have had to use, like, green screen. Like, they would have had to put, like, sort of like a cloth or something on his nose, and then they would have had to CGI every frame. Like, it would have been a lot of work visually.
I get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Like, I totally support that. If I was adapting this, I totally would have made the same choice.
Yeah, that said, they ultimately gave him, like,
a sexy scar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it has any connection to the trope of beauty's never tarnished. You know, like, is there, because he's such their wonder boy, he can't, and he's actually, like, quite a handsome man, that he can't be made ugly.
Absolutely.
You know? Like, I don't know, what do you think that's a thing?
I don't, like,
Yeah.
I think it kind of, like Danzie described it as a sexy scar, and I think that's a little bit telling. I mean, like, beauty's never tarnished usually applies to women, because women aren't allowed to have especially facial scars, but, like, a facial scar on a man is a little different. But you're right, it doesn't ugly him up in any way.
No, and it gets, it's less and less big every season.
It's just less and less there. Like, the makeup person just gets tired of doing this every day.
By the end, it's just like eyeliner that they, like, use. Or, like, lip liner.
Yeah, I mean,
here you go.
It's very noticeably, like, it's just a sexy scar. It, reminds me of the scars to come, though. Remember when Euron is given his scar on the show? And it's just like... It's just like, in a conversation, Balin misses and gives him a scar. Yeah. And that's there. You're like, what?
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
That was weird. Yeah. But no, I do think that maybe a bit of a crack in the plaster. When I think of Beauty is Never Tarnished, I think of Sophie Turner with, like, artistically placed bruises and like a low-cut nightgown. That's more, because it tends to be more of a gendered trope too.
Well, and also like the scene where she has her period, like she is mysteriously not at all covered in blood.
Oh my god, she bled for so long.
Yeah.
She needs to see an OBGYN about that, because she was like bleeding for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's her first period. With the first few periods, all sorts of wacky things happen.
No, that wasn't even like spotting. That was like a rush.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's like the most blood I've ever seen from a period in
that
one
was
place.
Like somebody killed a kitten in your bed.
Okay, so can we talk about Sansa and Shay and what they're doing with this?
Yeah.
Like having Shay be like Sansa's protector.
Why didn't they have Sir Dantos be that? Like, serious question. Not as a protector, but like as a sounding board for Sansa to go to. Why didn't they just keep that? Because one of the difficulties of Sansa is she's a very internal character. There's no one she discloses
very
to.
much so, yeah. She's very introverted.
Obviously in the books, Sir Dantos she's not disclosing to either, because he's creepy and drunk.
Yeah.
But, like...
I mean, she does vent at him every once in a while.
Yeah, so at least something, so we get a little sense of what's going on.
She needs a mouthpiece in a visual medium, because you need to get her ideas and her thoughts across. For sure.
But like
I understand
choosing Shay to be this character for Sansa.
Oh, I don't approve of the execution.
No, she pulls a knife on Minnie Maid to make sure that nobody tells her about the period stains, and she says it like she'd die for her.
But
Minnie Maid.
And like, but like, why would they do that to Shay as a character? That makes no sense either, especially given the direction they knew that Shay would be going in.
She's like continually packing heat too in Blackwater.
Yeah, like I said, I was watching Blackwater this morning, and she has like this, and she's like, "Nobody's raping me," and then you see her like chopstick like stabbed to her leg, and it's like, sweetie, they have like giant swords. Like that's not gonna help you. Like, what are you gonna do? Like poke their eye out? Like, honey, you're gonna need more than this.
Is this just like how they think well-written women characters are?
Yeah, they're empowered, which means that they have knives.
I mean, I know when I leave the house, I strap a chopstick to my leg. Like, nobody's raping me. Like, what?
It was a very sharp chopstick.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But it was like so sexy. Like, it wasn't like a leather strap. It was like two little bands holding it on.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Anyway, Shay sucks so much. I hate her. Anyways.
So what?
She's literate now, though.
What was that?
She's literate now.
There's Caroline.
Oh, Caroline is literate.
I was going to ask, on our little outline, it says pop-up Sansa. What does that mean?
Oh, yeah, she would disappear for episodes at a time. Oh. I mean, I was basing it, remember we call him Pop-Up Blackfish.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like a joke off of that. But in my opinion, Sansa would just like pop up, have a scene, oh, okay, I'm remembering almost being raped, and then just like disappear for 2 weeks, and be like, okay. And then, like, in Blackwater, she popped up again, and she
was good in Blackwater. I liked her.
She was excellent, and she was just Sansa, but like, where was she? Where did she go after that? Or like, she's sassing Joffrey, I Saw You Cry was another scene that was before the almost rape. Like, what's going on? What are you doing from any given day? Also, she had pop-up handmaids.
There was this one episode where she has these 4 women following her around.
Who are they?
Yeah, where did
they go?
They're also Kingsguard. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just she seemed very inconsistently used, and like there wasn't even an attempt to give her a story.
Yeah.
I also liked in the final episode where she's walking away, finally like smiling that Joffrey's not marrying her, and Littlefinger comes in and is like, "You're a terrible liar." Like, what? Okay, so basically, any semblance of what should have been her arc, Littlefinger just came in at the very last scene and was like, No. You're still going to be... He's not going to give him his plaything. Aidan Gillen's accent this year is... doing almost as much traveling as he was.
It's funny, I never remember it being a problem when I watched these early seasons.
I noticed it. I always
And now
I
can't not notice it.
I only noticed it beginning episode, like season 4, when he comes to rescue Sansa from the Purple Wedding.
I think that's about when I started to notice it too.
Because that's when he was like literally Barbossa.
Just Irish.
I remember watching season 1 and he has that scene with Ned where Ned like pushes him up against the wall like outside the brothel. And then Ned stops doing that and he goes, "The Starks, they're going to be the death of me," or something like that.
Starks. Quick tempers, slow minds.
Yeah, something like that. I remember like watching that thing. That was hilarious. I was trying to explain the Chaos is a Ladder speech to my girlfriend, and
that was your first
like,
mistake.
I was like, this guy who has an accent sort of like Batman. If he was trying to be British, was talking about how a ladder, chaos is really a ladder that you climb, and when you climb it, there's more chaos, but you keep climbing it. And then...
I am so excited to get to the climb.
Yeah, because like if you fall down, you're dead, so you have to keep climbing, right? Yeah.
Many who try to climb fall down. Some don't attempt the climb at all. What?
And Sansa's the one that they go to for that, right? She doesn't attempt to climb at all.
He's not like...
And Sansa's like, okay. Like, there's so many scenes where he's just like talking at someone and they just sit there patiently waiting for his monologue to end, like, okay.
Yeah.
Littlefinger's not exactly better written this year. It's just
No.
It's less of a stupid monologue and more like, "Tell me if you have sex with your husband," to Margaery. And she's like, okay, the concept of marriage seems to confuse you. I really liked her in that scene. I could see like
her and Renly were both really good at sassing Littlefinger. They were just like, nobody cares, dude. Like, fuck off.
Mm-hmm. Wait, that reminds me of Margaery. What do you think of her saying that Joffrey's story took root deep inside her?
Just
because
I can't believe it's not patriarchy.
I mean, like, either have a patriarchy or don't, guys.
I
Like,
mean,
it's
in that scene, they were talking
Like-
about how virginal she was while she was wearing this, like, low-cut dress and being all suggestive at Joffrey. You're just like, you don't see the disconnect here?
I'm so confused by that neckline, because the neckline on that ugly-ass dress that she's wearing in that scene only appears again on Miranda in the north.
Miranda with her tits out to the wedding.
Yeah, that's the only other time that neckline appears. So I'm like, what's happening?
Like, the only thing that just made me think of is, like, how bad her nippleitis must be in that cold, drafty throne room.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. The material seemed pretty thick. Remember when... It's better than, like, later when Dany's wearing furs and Davos is talking about how Jon's totally been checking her out. Okay. You've been looking at her boobs.
Yeah.
Yep, that's me. We are almost at 2 hours, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, we have to wrap this up.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Any concluding thoughts on season 2?
It was worse than season 1.
It was worse than season 1, I agree.
Okay.
If you're not, I think going back to the cardinal rules of adaptation, if you can't adapt something properly, don't do it. Like with Karth, like if you're not going to do the Karth storyline, don't come up with some other stupid alternate shit that makes no sense.
Also, they could have adapted the normal one. I don't know why they didn't.
I don't know.
There's nothing preventing that.
Yeah. So
they just didn't want to. It wasn't high stakes enough.
Maybe they thought the chapters in the in the book were boring, so they skipped.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can totally tell what chapters they are bored by, and they're Sansa, Dany, like maybe John. I don't get the sense they like John that much, actually. Because they're always trying to improve him to be more action-y.
Yeah, they don't really get that he's sort of a very internal character like Sansa too, and he's sort of like a people watcher, and he's sort of, actually like clever in the books and can like put two and two together.
Yeah,
and, like,
not a mouth breather.
Isn't just a wide-mouthed idiot.
What do you have against mouth breathers?
Yeah.
I'm a mouth breather.
It's just not a good look for an actor, dear. Oh, and the chapters they hate most of all are cats, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They just throw that shit out.
Which, again, like, they...
Oh, and Bran.
Yeah, like, all of the introverted, like, very internal kind of characters, they're like, that's boring.
Mm-hmm.
We need more Rob and his sexy midwife. Yeah. Like, nothing turns me on like a body of, like, all the bodies of my dead men and, like, one of them, like, cutting off someone's leg.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
So I decided that parties were stupid. The end.
Yeah. And her, like,
Talisa.
Volantis, like, royalty, like, her family that she's part of, like, never follows up, like, her dying. I don't know, like, did she just make it up?
I'm sure that's a honeypot
yeah,
that's out there.
because she's a spy for the Lannisters,
Oh,
remember?
yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
That honeypot makes more sense than Talisa.
It's because it improves the story.
And that is literally why we call honeypots honeypots,
Yeah.
because the idea that Talisa was a honeypot. Yeah. That's where that came from. But, yeah, no, I see why that was as popular as it was.
It's better. It's, like, improves the story massively, and
the fans tend to do that. They pick the things apart and they, like, make extra stuff that...
The hallmark of a honeypot is that it's more creative and more logical than what the actual story is.
Well, exactly. I mean, like, but the fans of this show especially just seem so good at sort of willfully pretending or willfully filling in these gaps to make the story better on no part thanks to the writers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like,
I honestly think some of it, too, is that they can look up Wikipedia entries for the books and fill in some of the gaps with Martin's work.
Yeah.
I do think that. But yeah, we will see if the devolution continues into season 3.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe season 3 will be a revelation of quality.
Maybe we'll be like, wow, season 3 was actually better than I remember it.
Maybe.
I kind of hope so, because I'm sick of, like, doing this every week and being angry.
Yeah.
I'm not angry, I just kind of am like, I mean, Griffin's angry, so I guess that, it's like, why do we have to watch this again? It's the project, dear. But, yeah, I don't know, because I've been ordering them. I say that they get progressively worse. I'm actually curious if that held up, because I was not overwhelmingly happy with season 2.
Yeah.
Other than Blackwater. So, we'll see.
I like Renly's armor. He looked fantastic.
He did. I liked his crown.
I love his beard.
I mean, it's
that
not
is
as
a great
cool
improvement on the books. Is his
remember Marge's little crown with her FLDS dress?
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Or was that season 6? That was season 6.
That's season 6 when she's pious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's wearing the potato sack.
Yeah, the
and
sexy
the
potato
wig that
sack.
Sansa inherits.
But it's like taken in at like the hips, so like it still shows off her curves. Cause...
I do want to give Caroline the chance to talk about burrito dress just for a minute, though.
Oh, thank you. Burrito dress makes no sense. I think I wrote like a whole 5,000 word piece that includes an analysis of burrito dress.
She's an experimenter, okay? She's fashion forward.
It doesn't make it doesn't
you wrote an essay
make any
on
sense.
this?
So, okay, first of all, in the universe, where would this style possibly come from?
She's an innovator.
Did she sew it herself? Was she like,
yes.
Was she at her morning yoga session and she was like, this mat, yes, I shall roll this.
Have you ever seen the Always Sunny episode where Dennis designs a dress? That's how I imagine this playing out. Marge designs one and then like finds a seamstress.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
like the Reach is sort of supposed to be like coded France, and I like in the books they are supposed to be more like fashion forward, but like a lot of the sort of women's style like in the books kind of comes from there.
And that would be fine if this was reflected in any way in any other place ever. You know, if this
in 5 years everyone's going to be wearing the burrito dress.
No, in 5 years they're all wearing those like sleeveless numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
No, this is what really happened. My girl, Michelle Clapton, who's the costume designer, and we know this is what happened because she told us. She was inspired to make this dress by, I believe it was a Bjork stage costume.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The ball dress.
Real life. She said this in an interview, in almost complete sentences. And
I'm gonna Google this. Bjork burrito dress.
Yeah.
Bjork.
It's like
It's a Bjork Bell dress.
Yeah.
And there's a Vanity Fair article with her interview, and it literally puts the two dresses next to each other. So she was inspired by this Bjork dress to make this dress for Margaery. Totally inappropriate. Completely inappropriate inspirational source for your medieval fantasy character. But okay. Yeah. And then when everybody hated it, like, because Michelle Clapton didn't give any interviews till after the reaction of, wow, this is a fucking ugly costume.
Yeah, it's like I was really inspired by this Metallica concert I went to.
That's for Euron.
Yeah.
So after
Ozzy Osbourne was Euron.
When everyone hated it, she then gave this interview and she was like, well, it was a young queen experimenting or whatever. And I'm like, don't try to fucking lampshade this shit after the fact, bitch. Like, I know that you just designed
Own your burrito dress, damn it. Own it.
Right, it's like, you made an ugly dress. It's okay. It happens. This is like when she tries to explain why Daenerys wears blue. It's like, Daenerys wears blue because Emilia Clarke with a blonde wig on looks nice in blue. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Nobody can ever own their
reason.
mistakes, like, in interviews. Like, it always has to be like, oh, we meant to do that. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Like, it's okay to be like, oh, yeah, it was silly. We could have thought that out better. Ha ha ha.
Daenerys has been wearing her mother's ring this whole time.
Didn't you know?
Yeah.
Can't. So that's the problem. Michelle Clapton tends to try to explain away the reason certain things are
The
happening.
fashion police are coming.
You know what? I hate to say this, but she is wearing that ring.
Yeah, she is. She wore it in House of the Undying.
That is a
I noticed
consistent
it.
feature.
Yeah, no,
Sure. I mean,
wears
we
it all the
literally never hear about her mother, but sure, whatever.
It also makes no sense. So Daenerys, the infant, managed to keep a hold of a ring that belonged to her mom.
I'm sure that Viserys gave it at some point.
It's like a hidden. That's a pretty common staple of a hidden prince trope. What bothers me is that nothing ever becomes of it. Do we even know her mom's name is Rhaella? Like, do we know anything?
No.
And
We know that she died in childbirth, I think.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You're wearing that ring.
Yep.
And then we get
You
the
wear
horrible scene later on where she puts the ring on the necklace and looks like she needs to go to Starbucks and get her pumpkin spice latte. Like, what is this? Nobody does that in this universe. I can't. But yeah, burrito dress is definitely, I'm gonna say, like, that's a big old, like, crack in the plaster in terms of costuming, like, these weird things Michelle Clapton did that then she tries to explain away. It like, just compounds every season.
What one minor other costuming crack in the plaster is that Talisa is permanently schmutz.
Oh my gosh.
She just walks around covered in blood and, mud when she goes and talks to this king all the time.
Yeah.
Well, silk isn't very good for wiping off blood.
And she doesn't have like a general costume change after she becomes a queen either. Like, she doesn't start dressing like a Westerosi in any way.
Yeah, like, even coming back from the Craig, she, like, has dirt on her cheek. Like, what were you doing there? What were you doing? Was she stitching people with silk? Probably.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to get out of here. We are running very long, but please let us know in the comment section what you liked the best or the worst about Season 2, and what your hopes and dreams are for Season 3.
Just your hopes and dreams in general. Put them in the comments. I don't know. We the fundamentals are here for you.
We also want to let you know, in this Unabashed Book Snobbery feed, that we are going to have our Dragonstone retrospective podcast finally posted, I believe, over the weekend is when part 1 is going to drop. Part 2, maybe a week or two after that. So apologies for that being delayed. There were things that pushed it off our radar. And then Julia and I are also going to have to finally write our last retrospective for Season 7.
Before the end of the year, we promise.
It's called Sam Drops Out of School and Other Tales.
I thought it was called Fuck This Shit, I'm Out.
It could be called that. That would be just as appropriate.
Okay.
Be sure to check out Danzie's YouTube channel, Danzie Reviews. Some of my favorite videos during Game of Thrones Season 7 were on your channel because it was like, someone else is sane. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And always good audio quality.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here, too. I've wanted to weasel my way out onto one of these podcasts for like a year and a half. So.
Oh, for sure. I will have you for a non-Game of Thrones focused one at some point, too. We can talk about, like, a Song of Ice and Fire.
You could try to convince us to be into Stannis.
Danzie, we could do something about Stannis and the Baratheons and Davos. I've been trying to find someone to do a Davos reread with me.
Ooh, okay. I'd be down.
And we will also be here. No, I kind of like that idea. Otherwise,
Dude, I
by
would
the way,
be so down
visit
for a Baratheon podcast.
thefundamentals.com If you want to follow along in our Game of Thrones rewatch, you can also just search GOT Rewatch or The Wars to Come, and it will come up. I tag every single one of them, so that is fun.
Hashtag branding.
Oh my god.
We're the best at this.
And while you're on thefandomentals.com, you might want to consider subscribing to us for $3 a month. We appreciate it, yes.
Do it. It's worth it. Whatever coffee you just picked up from Starbucks and you're drinking right now, throw it in the trash and get a subscription. Throw it out.
That's economic.
Yeah.
Don't you want to hang out with us live?
Yeah.
Well, now you can.
Open up the
Game of Thrones.
Tassimo of your mind and pop that disc in. And then subscribe to... I don't know where I'm going with this.
All right.
On that
I think
bombshell.
that's the sign. That's the sign we're going to duck out. So thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.